Okay, we should be live now. This is really, really exciting, guys. We have been looking forward to this for a while now. There's been a lot of preparation that has gone into getting this ready, but we just could not be more excited. Cyrus, are you with us? I can't hear you. If you're in the chat box, guys, if you can hear Cyrus, say I can hear him. If you can't hear him, say you can't hear him.
Turn microphone. Okay, can you hear me now?
We got you. You're in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Awesome.
All right. Guys, in the chat box, we would love to hear what type of diabetes are you living with, or maybe you're a family member, maybe you're here just because you want to learn. Let us know. Let us know in the chat box. Which type of diabetes are you living with? We would love to know. Okay, we got type 1, type 1.5, type 2, pre-diabetes, type 1. Okay, I have type 2, type 1. Guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who wrote us a text message. I was writing back to as many as I could. I'm sure many of you messaged with Heather. She's going to be helping in the comments today. So I really enjoyed reading through the frustrations, and these are things that we've heard, and that's why we've created the program that we have. So we're going to address that stuff tonight. Anything we don't get to during the webinar, we're going to be doing a Q&A towards the end. So stick with us. We want to address all you guys' concerns, all right? All right, so we got, look at that, type 2, type 1, pre-diabetes. They want to keep their A1C low. Okay, good. Cyrus, let me know if, I think Cyrus might be frozen a little bit here. Let's see here. I don't know. We're gonna wait until make sure Cyrus's computer is working properly before we get going here. But I love the interaction that we're seeing in the chat box here. This is great. It says we have 309 people here. That's amazing. It's really, really amazing, guys. So let's see here. All right. Looks like Cyrus had to leave, but he's gonna come back here, solve some internet issues. So, okay, the other thing I would like to hear, I'm really curious, where do you guys live? We'd love to know where in the world you guys are located. So I'm in Santa Monica, California. Cyrus is in San Francisco. So where are you guys from? All right, let's see here. Wisconsin. I grew up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, good old Midwest. Good to see somebody from Wisconsin with us. New York, Knoxville. I mean, guys, this is unbelievable. The speed at which comments are coming in is really, really something else. We have Heather and we have Kylie going to be helping out with comments. So Kylie, you guys might have seen in one of our recent YouTube videos, we were all in Tulum, Mexico, where Cyrus and Kylie got married. So Kylie is now the wife of Cyrus, so I'm really excited about that. And she's been at our retreats in the past, going to be at our upcoming retreat. So it's always nice to have an experienced registered nurse with us. So that retreat is happening in Idlewild. So really, really excited about that. Let's see, what else? Yes, Heather, there we go. So Heather just commented, so everybody knows who we're talking about here. Heather actually went through our program. She's living with type 1 diabetes, just like me and Cyrus. And she has a lot of experience with what we're talking about here. So, you know, we totally understand the amount of confusion out there in the diabetes world. And we're really passionate about really setting the record straight, just talking about facts. I mean, that's something that's really, really important to us. We know there's different opinions out there and different experts, and we respect all of them. But when it comes to misinformation, saying things about carbohydrates that just simply are not true, not factual, that's the stuff that we want to set straight, set the record straight, and we're going to do that tonight. We are going to do that tonight. We have a lot of really important information to cover. So we will still be patient here. I really want to make sure Cyrus is with us. We can't start the presentation without Cyrus. So appreciate you guys' patience as we work through a little bit of technology here. Cyrus is back.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Looking good.
Awesome.
All right.
Sorry about that.
This is all good. We have people from all over the world, man. I mean, just everywhere. I saw somebody from New Zealand. We got every city you can think of here. It's great. Really.
Okay. So are we, you want to do a screen share and get this whole presentation started?
I think you want me to share my screen, huh?
No, we can share my screen. That'll work.
Yeah, share your screen. Let's get it going.
All right. How do I do that? There we go. Screen share on.
All right. Hopefully everybody can hear us. If you have any technology issues, let us know in the chat box. Try and solve that. But we should be good to go.
Man, this technology is really not my friend today. I don't know why.
No,
everything is going great.
I think we all have our technology struggles.
Seriously. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this will work.
All right.
I don't know what is happening here. Webinar jam initiating trip. Okay, here we go.
Okay. We can see your screen, Cyrus.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
All right. It's full screen now?
It is not yet. But it might even just work just fine inside of PowerPoint.
Okay. Check one last thing. Wow, this is a little silly. Honestly, I didn't think this was going to happen.
Well, we live and we learn here. It's all good.
Yeah, seriously.
The good news is that we can see your screen.
One last.
All right, so it looked like somebody said the video was frozen. Hopefully that comes back, and that's just maybe an internet connection issue. Really appreciate you guys' patience here. But like I said, got really, really important information to cover here. So that's what we're going to do. If necessary, I can pull up the presentation on my computer. Oh, there we go. Cyrus is back.
Robbie, can you check the, can you maybe start the presentation on your computer? I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah, let me go and find it.
I tell you, sometimes those days where, you know, technology doesn't work. But anyway, point being is that Robbie and I realized that you guys are here. We've been running this coaching program for, you know, multiple years at this point. And there's literally nothing that we like more than seeing people feel better, people reduce their insulin usage, people get off their oral medications, and honestly, just really start to enjoy the food. As you guys know, living with diabetes can be kind of it can be a really like heavy subject, especially if you don't know what to do in order to actually move forward and attain your ideal body weight, gain energy, and really minimize your need for medication. So, you know, we're fortunate here that we've been able to, you know, inspire change for so many people. And I want to make sure that what we want to do today in this webinar is make sure that you guys have a really good foundation, a really good understanding for exactly what you can do in order to move forward in that same direction. So this is going to be really exciting. Technology is not our friend today, guys. This is silly. Silly, silly, silly. Let's try one last time here. Yes. Can you go full screen?
Okay, you enter full screen. All right.
Beauty.
There we go. Guys, let's get started. So I can't see the chat box now that I have this full screen thing going. So Heather and Cyrus and Kyle will be able to see it. So if guys, if there's any issues, let us know, but we're going to get started. So what are we talking about today? How to triple your insulin sensitivity in 30 days. This is such an important topic, insulin sensitivity, insulin resistance. And we're going to talk about it today, make it all clear, and explain why you can eat full carbohydrates and actually improve your insulin sensitivity. Towards the end of the Q&A, we'll talk about why people would say you could eat a high-fat diet and be improving insulin sensitivity, but that's not actually the case, so we'll get there. And so our goal today is, like I'm saying, we're just trying to clear up confusion, explain how our program works, why it works, so you understand the science, see how it works, and then we can go from there.
Fantastic. Okay, so here's a couple of reasons why we highly recommend staying till the end. In this webinar, we're going to teach you a super effective system that teaches you how to control your blood glucose tomorrow and for the rest of your life. And that system, we're going to continue to explain it as time goes on. You'll learn how to lose weight, or I should say how to attain your ideal body weight without actually trying too hard. And that's something that you'll see over and over again as a constant theme that's in, with all the clients that we've helped. You're also going to learn how to gain tons of energy in this process, which is always nice. Who doesn't want more energy? And then you will also find out we have a new program that we're actually launching, and you guys are the first to hear about it. And this new program is actually our most affordable and our most comprehensive program ever. So we want to tell you guys all about it.
He can hear you.
Robbie, I've been hearing that nobody can hear me. Can you hear me, Robbie?
I can hear you. I hope other people can hear you.
Can you guys type in the chat box? We're having a serious technology problem. Can you just type in the chat box yes or no if you can hear me talk, please? Okay, people are saying yes, 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 yes. Okay, we can hear you. Okay, great. All right, so there's no problem then. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, so and then also at the very end of this webinar, we'll give you guys a special offer, and a special offer is something that you can actually redeem on the webinar. And I think you guys are really gonna like it. I really do. So let's keep going.
Okay, so like I was talking about a little bit at the beginning when we were getting all our technology set up here, there's so much confusion that carbohydrates are the enemy. We're going to discuss that today. There's a lot of confusion about insulin being an enemy. We're going to talk about why that's not the case. So here we go. We're going to talk about carbs. We're going to talk about lots of protein and fat is actually not a good solution. And we're going to show how you can actually eat all the fruit you're seeing me. We're eating potatoes, rice, beans, foods like that, and actually lose weight and gain energy. So
okay, so
go ahead.
Here's what I want to see in the chat window. I think you guys might have already done this, but if you guys could just take another second and write this in, we'd be really appreciative. What type of diabetes are you living with? Type 1, type 2, pre-diabetes? What's your biggest frustration? Is it not knowing what to eat? Is it gaining too much weight? Is it feeling low energy? Is it having too high insulin and too high medication requirements? And then lastly, just write yes or no if you're ready to make some serious positive change, because it's all about. That's what our entire program is about. It's change, and positive change. And we want to make sure that we can help guide you guys towards the oasis that awaits.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, guys, really appreciate all the people who did share their frustrations. We went through all of them, took notes, and want to make sure to address those issues. And we'd love to hear from you who didn't text us or didn't email us. So definitely comment in the chat box.
Cool. So I see a lot of type 1s, a lot of type 2s, afraid to eat food, difficult to control, pump user, can't seem to lose weight, low energy, don't know what to eat, blood sugars are not going down. Okay, cool. Keep them coming. Okay, awesome. Let's keep going. Okay, so most people with diabetes, when we ask them this question, they answer some of the bullet points here. Either you're controlling your blood glucose, an impossible struggle, like you're never going to win that battle, or losing weight's extremely difficult, or your digestion just doesn't work anymore. It's like you have gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, or maybe you have gastric reflux. A lot of people report that they have very low energy levels. I was there, Robbie was there, we know all about that. A lot of people complain that their A is high, and it's really frustrating because you go to your doctor and your doctor says, hey, let's get your A1C value down, but it never seems to change. In fact, a lot of people seem increasing A1Cs over time. And then on the doctor front, we love doctors. We're friends with doctors. I got 5 doctors in my family. The fact of the matter is doctors don't know nutrition. So when you go to your doctor and you're saying, hey, what are some foods I can eat in order to help me? They literally don't know the answer to that question. So that's people.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Robbie Barbero, also known as Mindful Diabetic Robbie on social media. I love to share pictures of what I'm eating on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Insta Stories. It's one of my passions. So when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 12, about to turn 13. And at that time, I was following the standard American diet. In my teens, I took lots of allergy medications. I got sick all the time. I had terrible acne. It was so bad, I tried all the drugs, and they finally put me on Accutane, which is one of the most serious drugs. And my parents had to sign, a waiver, all these dangerous things that happen for people who use that drug. And I also suffered from plantar fasciitis, so my health wasn't that great. And so I tried a lower carb approach. I did the Weston A. Price Foundation, had a lot of grass-fed beef, grass-fed milk, stuff like that. I was told to avoid fruit because it was too high in sugar, and it didn't go that well. So I moved on to doing a low-carb version of plant-based eating. So this is where I could eat all kinds of oil and nuts and nut butters and lots of greens, but fruit was not allowed, had too much sugar. And this approach, I took the least amount of insulin I've ever taken. We'll talk about that later, but I had no energy, and I almost blacked out several times on campus while I was at school. So then eventually I came across this whole food plant-based diet where I'm eating loads of fruits, loads of vegetables, and all of a sudden I feel amazing. My insulin sensitivity went through the roof. I'm eating tons of carbs, and I'm getting to try all these new fruits. So here's me picking persimmons for the first time. I didn't even know what a persimmon was. It was amazing. And now it's 10 years later. I just feel amazing every day. I feel like it's only getting better. Over the past 10 years, I've been eating nothing but fruits and vegetables. Never had an A1C above 6.4. Current A1C, actually need to update that. My current A1C is 5.9, and I'm active every day, feeling amazing.
All right, my name is Cyrus Kambata. I have a PhD in nutritional biochemistry, and my friends and colleagues, everyone knows me as the Mango Man. Why? Because I'm addicted to mangoes, absolutely addicted to them. So my story starts back in college. I was 22 years old. It was in my senior year of college. I was studying at Stanford University, and out of nowhere, I got diagnosed with not one, not two, but immune conditions. And they came in this order. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, or hypothyroidism, was first. Then came alopecia universalis, which is why I have no hair. I got no hair anywhere. And then the icing on the cake for me was type 1 diabetes, all within a 6-month period. So you can imagine, 22-year-old kid gets diagnosed with all 3 of these. I was scared. I was extremely scared. I thought my health was totally out of control, and I didn't know what to do. So at this point, I was really frustrated because I was doing everything the doctors and nurses and nutritionists told me to do. I was maintaining a somewhat carbohydrate-restricted diet, but I had, just like Robbie, I had no energy. I got so low in energy that I got really depressed. I got really anxious, and as a result of that, I actually couldn't exercise anymore, which is really frustrating because I've always grown up as an athlete, and not being able to move my body really frustrated me. My blood glucose meter was a random number generator. I literally had no idea what was going to happen at any time of the day. I could check my blood glucose and I could see a 45 or I could see a 445, and it just was the most frustrating situation I'd experienced in my entire life. So at this point, I decided I need to make a change. So I started eating a ton more plants, and I dropped my fat intake, and I started increasing my my intake of fruits and vegetables. And as a result of that time, I noticed incredible changes to my insulin sensitivity. My insulin needs dropped, and I started to feel a ton more energy. It was a night and day difference. So after 3 months, here's what happened. I went from eating a carbohydrate per day all the way up to about 700 grams of carbohydrate per day. I dropped my insulin use by 40%. So it doesn't make any sense because I was eating more carbohydrate, but yet I was using less insulin. I rode my bike more than 4,000 miles in the first year. I mean, I just felt incredible. And I was able to control my blood glucose with precision for the first time in my entire life. All right, so then I returned to school to go get a PhD in nutritional biochemistry. And there at UC Berkeley, I was able to study specifically what is insulin resistance and why does insulin resistance cause such difficulty for people with type 1, for people with type 2, for people with prediabetes. What is insulin resistance? What causes it? How can you reverse it? That process, I read 3,000 scientific papers. I wrote a thesis on insulin resistance. And I consider myself to be very knowledgeable about how you can manipulate insulin resistance and turn it into insulin sensitivity and truly transform your diabetes health. You go next slide, Robin.
Yes, sir. We're on the
Cool.
slide.
So here I am. All right. 15 years later, I reduced by 40%. I eat more than 700 grams of carbohydrate per day. That's right, per day. I've increased my insulin sensitivity by almost 800%. And my A1C values, just like Robbie, are super low. They're between 5.4 and 6% all day long, every day. And it's been that way for the better half of a decade.
So we are diabetes nutrition and fitness coaches. And yes, we're living with type 1s ourselves, but we help all forms of people living with diabetes, all forms, take full control. So type 1, type 1.5, pre-diabetes, type 2, it's all the same thing. We're going to talk about it more in depth here, but it's really insulin resistance that needs to be addressed. So we're going to cover 3 secrets today. So number 1, we're going to talk about insulin resistance. Like I just said, it affects all people living with diabetes. We're going to talk about fat and protein and how there's just so much confusion about those foods. It's unbelievable. But we're going to address them. And we're going to talk about the importance of having a community of successful people in your life while trying to master diabetes.
It's like a little delay here. Okay, so here's secret number 1. Insulin resistance affects all people with diabetes. Exactly why. Okay, so in the world of diabetes, the conversation's always about carbohydrates. I'm sure you guys have been here before, and you guys may be still here, right? You hear questions like, where do you get your carbs? How many grams of carbs are you eating per day? What are some good low-carb foods, right? It's all about carbohydrate this, carbohydrate that. Okay, so if you're only focused on your carbohydrate intake, and that's the only thing that you're trying to measure and or manipulate, missing and a very important variable. You're missing the bigger picture. Okay, so what is that variable? Okay, well, it turns out that when you eat a diet that is low in carbohydrates, which most people with diabetes do, you have to increase your intake of foods that are both high in fat and high in protein. So you eat foods like butter and cheese and eggs and bacon and meat and fish, with small amounts of foods like toast and bread and pastas and cereals and fruits. So as a result of doing this, what ends up happening is that you end up developing insulin resistance. Resistance truly affects 2 tissues in your body. Actually, it affects multiple tissues, but the 2 most important tissues that it affects are your muscle and your liver. So you can think of insulin resistance as it's a very simple concept. Insulin resistance is, please write this down on a piece of paper. Just get out a pen and write down a piece of paper. Insulin resistance caused by the storage of fat in tissues that are not designed to store fat. I'll say that one more time. Insulin resistance is caused by the storage of fat in tissues that are not designed to store fat. So in this picture here, you see, an individual's calf muscle. And in that calf muscle, there's multiple different ways that you can store fuel. The glucose fuel tank is actually the big green one. And it's depicted as being green because there's a lot, your muscles have a large capacity to store glucose as glycogen. And they have a small capacity to store fat as triglyceride. The problem is that when you eat a low carbohydrate / high fat diet, you end up putting so much fat inside of these tissues that they lose their ability to absorb glucose from your blood. And that can be a huge problem because then you go to eat a banana and all of a sudden your blood glucose is through the roof. So people that really succeed brilliantly at understanding how to manipulate their diet in their favor to become insulin sensitive, they don't worry about carbohydrates as much as they worry about fat. Okay, so think about, how much space is carbohydrate really shift that, and just to start to understand the effect of fat. And when you understand that, then you can truly become very insulin sensitive. So in type 1 diabetes, if that's what you're living with, becoming insulin sensitive allows you to lower your A1C, allows you to get extremely predictable glucose, allows you to lose weight / achieve your ideal body weight. And you can do all of this simultaneously in a short period of time. Now, if you're living with type 2 diabetes, what it will allow you to do is lose weight, attain your ideal body weight, minimize or completely eliminate your need for insulin if you're injecting insulin from the outside, and minimize or completely eliminate your usage of oral medications like Lipizide, like any of these other insulin sensitizing medications. Okay? And I saw in the chat box earlier, somebody said, reverse type 2 diabetes, question mark, question mark, question mark. Is that even possible, right? I will tell you with absolute certainty that type 2 diabetes is a reversible condition. So if you do not understand that, that's okay. But trust me when I say type 2 diabetes is a reversible condition. And the literature shows that you can reverse type 2 diabetes in more than 80% of all cases, okay? So a perfect example is Patricia. She's been living with type 1 diabetes for, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 61. Okay, so she thought, well, I guess there's not much change. I'm old. There's nothing I can do, right? She adopted our program. She became a low-fat plant-based eater. In the process, her A1C dropped from 7.1%, where it started, all the way down to 5.6%. She lost almost 40 pounds in 8 months. Her carbohydrate intake went from 30 grams a day, which is the Bernstein low carbohydrate approach, and she went all the way up to 500 grams of carbohydrate per day. So you would think that if she went up from 30 grams to 500 grams of carbohydrate, that her insulin use would also go up. In fact, no, her insulin use went down. She dropped her insulin use by 10%. So as a result of that, her insulin sensitivity is 1,400% or what it was before. VJ is another perfect example. He's been living with type 2 for almost 9 years. He dropped his A1C from 7.5 to 6.4. He lost 30 pounds in 4 months. He increased his carbohydrate intake from about 100 grams to about 425 grams. His fasting blood glucose dropped from 178 down to below 100. And he got rid of blood pressure medication and metformin in the process. Okay, here's a secret number 2. Both fat and protein not only make you insulin resistant, but they actually increase your body weight and your insulin needs. So let me tell you why. Okay, so like we said earlier, low carbohydrate diets are actually high fat and high protein diets. So again, if you're eating these types of foods that you see pictured here, what that means is that the majority of your calories is coming from either fat or protein or some combination thereof. All right, so what's the problem with that, right? Well, here's another complication aside from the fact that you develop insulin resistance like we just talked about. When you consume animal protein in particular, okay, animal protein, what it does, a specific sequence of amino acids. And those amino acids, when they get digested, can actually go and they can speak to your liver. And one of the things that happens in your liver is that your liver starts to create this hormone called IGF-1, or insulin-like growth factor 1. And IGF-1 is really, really important because IGF-1 is a growth factor. IGF-1 is an incredibly powerful signal that tells tissue to grow and to store more fuel. All right, well, what's the problem with that, right? Well, here's the problem. The more animal protein you consume, the more IGF-1 you secrete. The more IGF-1 that's floating around in your bloodstream, the more all tissues in your body are told, hey, make more tissue. Hey, store more fuel. And that affects everything like you see listed here, your thyroid, your liver, your fat tissue, your testicles, your breast, your kidney, okay? When it comes to your fat tissue, you end up accumulating fat tissue. That's one of the reasons that a diet high in fat and protein actually makes you fatter, because the IGF-1 is telling these tissues, make more tissue. On top of that, you can actually increase your risk for tumor development and cancer. All these other tissues that you see listed here are told, hey, replicate, make more, make more, make more. And so they attain a cell replication rate that is abnormal. They start to replicate at a faster rate than would otherwise be deemed necessary. And as a result of that, they're prone to replication errors in DNA, which then leads to genetically unstable cells and for cancer. So not only are we talking about increased risk for insulin resistance and gaining weight, we're talking about an increased risk for other chronic diseases. Cancer is one of those for sure. So in our program, teaching people how to adopt a low-fat diet and a low-fat plant-based whole food diet is incredibly effective because our clients lose weight literally without even trying. They just change the way they're eating, and before they know it, they're like, oh my God, where's this weight going? It's just falling right off of me, right? So here's a perfect example, Homero. Homero lives in Florida. This guy absolutely loves what's happened to him. His A1C was 7.5 when he began 4 months ago. It's now 6.4, and it's continuing to come down. In 4 months, he lost 19 pounds. His carbohydrate intake, again, went from a low 40 grams per day all the way up to 320 grams per day. And his fat all the way down from 225 down to 104. Okay? Just like VJ, he stopped using all oral insulin sensitizing medication. Now, Homero specifically told us, he said, I'm not going to be able to lose weight on your program. And I said, fine. Thank you for your belief. Let's try it out. And after the first week, he was losing weight. Then the second week, the third week. And before he knew it, he was like, I've never felt this good before. And I have 19 pounds off of me. I can't wait to get the other 20 off of me. And then Sharon, she's another perfect example. Sharon actually has type 1 diabetes, okay? Sharon, you can see her at the beginning. She was a picture on the left. She contacted us because she knew that she was slightly overweight and she wanted a better option rather than a low carbohydrate diet. At that time, she was living with an A1C of 6.4, which by traditional methods would actually be a pretty decent A1C. She adopted our way of eating. Her A1C dropped by 0.6%, so now it's sub. She lost 26 pounds, and she had no idea that she even had 26 pounds to lose. But now that she's 26 pounds lighter, she feels way more capable. Her athletics have improved, and her blood work is phenomenal. Her carbohydrate intake went from less than 100 grams to 400 grams per day. And in the process of more than quadrupling her carbohydrate intake, she now uses 40% less insulin, just like me. 40% is a huge reduction.
Okay, so let's talk about secret number 3.
Oh,
There's an echo. Okay, well, let's just keep going. So a community of successful people is really, really important. You got to have support. If you want to do this, a unique lifestyle in a modern world that doesn't support it, you got to have a community. So when you surround yourself with people who achieve the results you're looking for, you just constantly see that on a daily basis, it inspires you to make progress, and you literally cannot fail. You're just setting yourself up for success. So these are some pictures of some people sharing their success in our private Facebook group, and it's just really great. So you see Stephanie here. She completely reversed her type 2 diabetes. Debbie feeling amazing. John, everything getting better. A1C went from 12.9 to 7, just on his way to better health. Dave here, he's type 1. He had an amazing story. His insulin sensitivity is really, really impressive. Megan, she's eating a bowl here that just looks amazing. It's making me hungry right now. Showing how she has great blood glucose readings, taking 3.5 units of insulin for that meal as a type 1. Really great insulin sensitivity. Great things from John here, reducing body fat. Norma, she completely reversed her type 2. A1C went from 6.0 to 5.5, taking no medication. When you're surrounded by this stuff, it's just like, I'm going to do it too type of energy. Got Mary feeling amazing. Megan eating foods she loves, feeling great. Here we have April sharing some blood glucose readings, type 1 right there. Michelle, another type 1, losing weight, just feeling amazing. So in summary, guys, we just talked about insulin resistance, why it affects all people living with diabetes and what happens when you reverse insulin resistance. So you saw in the type 2s, they were getting off medication. In the type 1s, they were eating way more carbs and taking less total insulin. That's improving insulin sensitivity all across the board right there. Cyrus talked about fat and protein actually increasing body weight, causing problems. And then really, it's important to be in a supportive community. It's really, really important. So we want to know in the chat box, guys, are you interested in hearing about what we have to share here? So we want to make sure that you guys are interested and want to hear this information. So we've got something we're excited to share, but wanted to make sure you guys are just as excited. So let us know in the chat box. Cyrus, what's happening?
Yes, please.
Okay, people. All right.
Yes. Yes. I'm on here. So excited to hear. Yes, absolutely, please. Cool. Great. I love you guys' excitement, by the way. This is so cool. I love watching this. Just like Robbie said, I cannot tell you how powerful having community around you truly is. It is unbelievable to go through this process not in a bubble. You don't go through it as a single solo island, right? You're doing it in the context of other people and interacting with others. And it truly transforms your ability to make positive change, especially make it in a sustainable fashion into the long term.
Okay, so let's talk about our program here. So we teach people how to construct the perfect meals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Full of recipes, exact ideas what to do, combinations, how to deal with these meals when you're not at home. All the details, we cover it in detail in our program. So there's no question unanswered about exactly what to eat, what ingredients are okay, what's not okay. We cover it all. And these are examples of the meals we're talking about that reverse insulin resistance. So you see in this picture, you got some beans in the upper right corner there. You got some corn, you got lots of fruit, you got lots of vegetables. But you see the calories here are coming from whole food, plant-based foods. And they are actually what reverses insulin resistance. So here's an example from some of our recipes. You can see in this guide here, amazing, got a cumin spice barbecue corn right there, citrus corn. I mean, corn's in season right now. Hope some of you guys are buying that. We got sweet potato fries, Thai green papaya salad. I mean, this stuff is making me hungry. We got some smoothies options in here.
Okay, so in part 2 of the online course, which we'll tell you about in detail here, the next thing that we go into detail here is about how to construct what we call your perfect exercise regimen, because your perfect exercise regimen is slightly different than mine. It's slightly different than Robbie's. It's slightly different than John from St. Louis, Missouri, right? So what we do in this part of the process is we teach you how to define your exercise habits. We have you fill out an exercise calendar, and we hold you accountable to that calendar. And then we teach you how to control your blood glucose before exercise, during exercise, and after exercise. And this is really important because we all know that exercise is good for you. I don't need to sit here and tell you, hey, exercise is good. The complicating aspect of living with diabetes is not knowing how to control your blood glucose before, during, and after. So as long as you can get an idea of how to actually control your blood glucose before, during, and after, there's positive ground. So we go into large amounts of detail for people with type 1, people with type 1 pump, people with type 1 taking injections. We also go into large amount of detail for people with type 2, people with prediabetes, and teach you what's a good time of the day to exercise, how to perform it, how much to perform, how often to perform it. And so this portion of the whole curriculum is really powerful because in conjunction with your low-fat diet, it really takes your insulin sensitivity to the next. Okay, then in the third part of the program, here's what we do. We teach you about your lifestyle, how to create and construct a really solid, long-term, and sustainable lifestyle. And if I don't sound like a broken record at this point, it's really important to understand that our program is specifically designed to be long-term and to be sustainable. We really, really, really mean that when we say this. We're not trying to teach you how to make a change for the next 3 months so that you can go back to a different diet after that. We're teaching you how to turn this into your new lifestyle for the rest of your life. And so part of that process is learning about other subtle nuanced details that aren't necessarily specific to the actual food you're putting in your body. We teach you about things like intermittent fasting. How much? How often? What's the point? We teach you about how to navigate social situations, because that can be tough, right? How do I go out to a restaurant? How do I go to a barbecue? How do I go to a friend's house, right? What if I have people coming over? What am I supposed to do? We teach you how to manage stress. We teach you how to sleep like a champion, because all of these things affect your blood glucose. And if you can control each one of them, then you're going to put yourself in a much more favorable position.
Okay, so let's talk about
this.
Pretty much one of my favorite parts of the program is our online community on Facebook. So that's a huge part of this program, is the ability to communicate with us. And I always tell people whenever I'm talking to anybody considering our program, and I say, look, I mean, the more you post, the more we can help you. We love it when people ask questions. We want to help. So that's what our community is for people to ask questions, post pictures of what they're doing, share their success, share the things they're struggling in. That's what we want to help with. So here's examples of people posting all kinds of things. It's very interactive. If you guys know me from social media, I'm pretty much on the phone all day long. So I love to participate in this group. So we are going to start a part of our new program. This new thing that we're announcing tonight and offering is that we are going to add new material to members every week. So we're going to have new recipes, new exercise videos, all kinds of pro tips on just little things that are going on, maybe questions that have been covered or asked a lot. We have articles, interviews, and much more of this stuff only for people who have joining us in our new program. So let's go back and let's talk about a few more testimonials here. So Dave, he was one of the screenshots earlier. This guy's amazing. He's a type 1. A1C went from 7.1 to 5.6. He lost 21 pounds. And look at his carb intake, 500 to 525 grams. And his total insulin use is less. I mean, I can't emphasize enough. It's just like, it's so simple, guys. You're eating more carbohydrates and taking less insulin. So it's really that powerful. It works. We got Isabel, other type 1 here. A1C went from 14 to 8. She lost 10 pounds in 3 months. And look at the carb intake, 75 to 225. And again, her insulin use went down.
Okay, so we're giving you a system. What we're trying to do is give you a collection of tools that's going to maximize your chances for success, period, end of story. We're not going to give you an incomplete program, because what's the point? We want to give you a solution and then have you utilize that solution and make sure that it works now, and it works tomorrow, and it's going to continue to work over the course of time. Okay, and I love to joke about this, but also not joke about it. What I like to tell people is that, hey, listen, as soon as you start to employ this, you might actually feel really good for the first time in a while, right? As a result of eating this way, you're most likely going to get more predictable blood glucose, more energy, lose weight, reduce or completely eliminate your need for medication, and just honestly have more self-confidence. You'll look better, you feel better, you'll be more confident about your body. And as a result of that, your life will change for the better. So this program is for people with type 1 diabetes, type 1.5 diabetes, pre-diabetes, and type 2 diabetes. I saw in the chat box, somebody wanted to know, is this program for kids? Absolutely. We work with kids all the way as young as 3 years old. And we work with people all the way as old as 74 years old. So if you are a kid yourself, or if you have kids and you want to really maximize their insulin sensitivity, this approach absolutely works. Okay, it's also for people with diabetes who have never heard of our approach. It's for people who have tried the method and just failed to make it work because they didn't have the right accountability. Maybe they had fragmented information. And it's also for people who need ongoing support through this process, because, like we said earlier, community is not recommended. It is required.
Okay, so the type of person that would not be a good fit for our program is a person who you're going to make excuses. Like, we really want people who are motivated and ready. Yes, there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be struggles. Like, nobody goes through lifestyle change without some struggles. But you still got to have this positive attitude. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to move forward. So we don't really like people who complain a lot. So people who aren't ready to take action. Like, if you're not willing to be coachable, if you're not willing to listen to us and try new things and trust us, it's probably not going to be a good fit. It's not going to work. And people who are just stuck in the information gathering mode. So if you're just out there gathering information, watching YouTube videos, reading articles, attending webinars, and not ready to make a commitment and move forward, I mean, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to make progress. It's not going to work. So people we're looking for, people who are ready to jump in, ready to make change, are confident. That's the people we are looking for. So we know that you'll get results. We absolutely know that people get results. There's no question about it. I know it sounds crazy, but literally, when you apply the program, you get results. Like, in our Facebook group, somebody wants to lose weight. Every single person, we're looking at their meals, they're sharing what's going on, and you will lose weight. Our goal is about a pound a week, and you will lose weight if you are doing the program and communicating with them. There's just no question about it. And then everything else starts to improve as you're doing that. So we know it works. And so we really want people who, that's what we're doing here. We're making sure that people who come in are motivated and ready. And that's how we have a high success rate. And that's why it works. Because in the Facebook group, when I'm asking people to do things, they got in there because we knew they were motivated.
Okay, and then I see a lot of really cool questions in the chat box here, so we'll address those in 1 second. This is the last program you'll ever need. It really is. That's the way we've designed it. We don't want you to have to search for program after program. We want you to just employ this, feel like $1 million, minimize or eliminate your need for medication, and then be satisfied. It's just that simple. And okay, so here's how it goes. We give you access to our online course, and in the online course, you'll get the following. All right, we basically did all the hard work for you. We've gone through and we've laid it all out in a step-by-step fashion. So you literally just plug and play. You just start the first thing, then you go to the next move, and then you go to the next move. And as a result of that, over the course of time, you're going to see incremental changes that are going to lead to an incredibly different feeling and a lot of positive change. Okay, so in this one, we teach you, in the online course, the first thing we do is we teach you how to lay the foundation and how to really set yourself up for success. Then the next thing we do is to teach you a process we call the decision tree. And the decision tree is the most single powerful lesson that you will ever do in your life with diabetes. It teaches you exactly how to make intelligent decisions to lead yourself towards reduced medication and improved overall health. The third lesson is to teach you how to clear your pantry. We told you how to get rid of all the junk, what to keep, what not to keep. We teach you how to fast, when to fast, how to use fasting to adjust your basal insulin if that's something that you're using. We teach you the elements of your fitness routine, like I said earlier. You know, what's the right fitness routine for you before, during, and after? How do I control my blood glucose? And then we teach you the logistics of food buying and preparation, right? Where do you buy your food? How much do you buy your food for? Can you go to save money? Okay, this is a really important problem or questions because we don't want to make this so that it's undoable. We want to teach you exactly all the nitty-gritty details. And then finally, we're going to teach you navigating social situations. We'll teach you how to handle, when you go out to eat and when you have people to come over to your house, because without that stuff, this lifestyle could be challenging for sure. But we'll lay it all out for you so it's really simple. Okay, here's another thing. Recipes, recipes, recipes. People ask us all the time. They're like, hey, I need recipes. I need more recipes. What do I eat? What do I eat? What do I eat? We give you so many recipes. We hope that you don't really have to go out and look for other recipes, okay? They're all over the place. Everything from soups to, beans, lentils, quinoa, hummus, pumpkin bean bowls, fruits, vegetables, things that look like burgers that aren't actually burgers. Okay, keep going, Robbie. Yeah, we have all types of foods. If these foods look good to you and these look enticing, and you'd like to be able to eat things like corn and smoothies and more fruits and bananas and, you know, date balls and potatoes and squash, right? These types of foods are fair game. Actually, they're encouraged and required, because once you start to eat these foods to the exclusivity of foods that are high in fat and protein, that's when all the positive changes start to happen. Okay, so here's the value. A lot of you have been asking. I think Cameron was saying, "What's the price? What's the price? What's the price?" This is my favorite part of the whole process. Let me show you this. I'm gonna show you the value of this program, and then we're gonna hit you with a price that's literally gonna make you laugh. I hope you laugh at this portion of the webinar. The online course is worth $1,200. No questions asked. It's got a lot of information in there, and just that by itself is worth $1,200. We're not gonna charge you $1,200. That's just what it's worth. The private Facebook group on top of it is worth another $1,000 per year for the support, for the guidance, for the community. The members only content every week, 52 new lessons for a full week, is worth $1,500. No question. And then on top of that, every month we're going to give you a Q&A call. So that means that every month we're going to get on a live video call where you get to ask us your questions. And in that process, you'll be able to personalize this program so that it'll truly work for you. So we want you to show up to those. We want to know exactly who you are. We want to see you over and over and over again, because the more we see you, the more we can learn from you, the more we can help. So the whole program is worth $5,500 per year. I kid you not. These are not made up numbers. That's what the value of each one of these things is. But we're not going to charge that amount of money, because that's a lot of money. So instead of charging you that much money, before we get there, here's the thing that we said at the beginning. We said, you know, if you will stay to the end, we'll give you a free gift. Here's your free gift. If you sign up for this program in the next 48 hours, we will give you our Master Diabetes Online Summit for free. That is more than 32 hour-long little interviews that we did with New York Times bestselling authors, physicians, and researchers around the planet. People like Joel Fuhrman, people like Dean Ornish, people like Dr. Neil Barnard, people like Dr. Joel Kahn, the best of the best. We interviewed every single one of them, and we put it together in this online summit. This is yours for free. Take it. It's yours. Okay? This is worth $97, but we're just going to give it away. Okay? So you might be asking, well, all right, fine. How much does the whole program cost? Here it is. This is where you start laughing. Please start laughing. We're gonna give you this program for $29 a month. I swear to God, it's the cheapest we've ever made this whole process. Up until this point, we've been charging thousands of dollars payable over a long period of time. But we decided over the course of time that we actually are really, really interested in dropping the price significantly. So we dropped it to a point where hopefully it's very doable for you. It's very affordable. It's something that you will not only gain benefit from in the short term, but something that will continue to add value over the course of time. And at $29 a month, I mean, this is a steal as far as I'm concerned, right? So this is it right here. This is our brand new program. I am so excited for you guys to get involved. And I know that this is going to truly transform your life with diabetes. And this can really lead you towards a completely different state of health. Okay. Now, if you have objections to this whole process, you got questions, we're going to go through all of them. We're going to be here at Q&A for as long as you guys want. One of the questions that people keep on saying is they say, well, listen, guys, like, this sounds great, right? I'm super skeptical this is going to work for me, right? Because, you know, I'm different. And here's why I'm different. I'm different because I'm older. Let's say I'm 85 years old, and I also have gastric reflux, and I also can't exercise as much, and I also have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, right? Everybody has a particular sort of, set of conditions and or lifestyle characteristics that's slightly different from everyone else. And so a lot of people say, well, this is not going to work for me, right? If you honestly have those questions, it's fine. You're allowed to have those questions. Go to this URL, masteringdiabetes.org/coaching. Just go there. There's a ton of videos on that page. Watch every single video. I urge you, watch every video testimonial, because what you will see is that someone just like one person, but someone just like you has gone through this process and is getting tremendous benefit.
Okay?
So you'll see it.
I just want to make sure everybody can hopefully still see the presentation, because now I moved over to look at these comments. I see some people are asking $20 a month for how long. So it's $29 a month on a monthly basis. You can cancel at any time. We don't think you're going to want to cancel, but you could if you wanted to. We're going to keep on providing. There's going to be meal plan stuff. There's going to be new recipe videos. There's going to be the Q&A. You're going to want to stick with us. So that's the way it goes. And basically, guys, this program is never going to be this cheap. If anything, it's only going to be more expensive. So if you sign up for the membership program today, $29 a month, you will be locked in at that rate. So, and again, like Sarah said, a lot of people think we're a little bit crazy for doing this. And based on what people have paid for be a part of our program in the past. And we've just decided that we really, truly want to open this up. And we want to help as many people as we can. There's a lot of people living with diabetes out there, and we're on a mission. We're on a mission to change a dramatic, large number of people's lives. So we want you guys to join us, be a part of this. Get in early. Cyrus and I are going to be all over this Facebook group and really supporting you. Basically, we're here to coach you every step of the way. Nothing makes us happier than people succeeding on this program. So we want to give you everything you need to succeed. That's what we put together. And, like I said, we're going to keep on producing new material every week to address whatever struggles people have until there's just nothing left. And you just have all the new recipes and new material you need to make it fun. So if you sign up, and $29 a month, it's pretty crazy in and of itself, but we said, why not make it even more irresistible? So we have the all access pass. So we're throwing that in if you sign up on the webinar today. So
absolutely. Now, there's a couple of questions in the chat box. How long are you locked in for? You're not locked in for anything. This is a month-by-month membership. If you want to be in this for a month, be in it for a month. You want to be in it for 2 years, be in it for 2 years. This is not like a cell phone contract where we say you have to be in it for some period of time, otherwise there's a cancellation fee. This is $29 per month. That's it. So you get as much as you got out. You stay in this for as long as you need in order to get as much out of it as you need, and then you can cancel at any time if you feel the need to cancel. Our goal is to keep you excited about this so that you don't want to cancel right off the bat. We want to give you as much value as possible. And in that process, hopefully you'll enjoy sticking around in this process and it'll transform your life, period. So just think about it as a month-by-month expense, and that's literally all it is.
Yep. So there's a lot of questions coming in. Basically what happens, so if you're signing up right now, you should get an emails automatically. You can get started tonight. And we'll start approving people for the Facebook group. Once you log into the online course, you can request access to our private Facebook group, and we'll approve you. We can all start communicating there. But you'll also, within the next 24 hours, you will also get access to the summit. We're gonna basically update your profile, so that'll happen. And let's see, what else? Is this program mainly raw food? I want to address that. So no, it's not. We encourage fruit. We're very fruit positive. We're telling people to eat, lots of raw fruits and raw vegetables. But the majority of the people who you just saw the testimonials on the page, the people who succeeded, every single one of them is including starch in their diet. Starch is a huge component of what we're teaching. It's part of, it can be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Most people in our program, a lot of doing fruit in the morning for most people, and then a starch meal for lunch and dinner. So, and again, people come into our program and you have certain goals. And all we want to do is just walk you through the process to achieve your goals. So whatever diet you are trying to get to, we're going to help you get there, make it consistent, love it, and truly enjoy it. So we're not like, the food police, and you have to do our specific, exactly what we do or something like that. There's room for personalization. That's really the whole point of a coaching program and us really coaching you guys, is to make it work for you in your life. So somebody's saying, what about people who are very underweight? Okay, great. It's a great question. So you'll see in our online course, we have a huge emphasis on calorie density. So you'll look in that lesson, and what a person who needs to gain weight will focus on eating more calorie dense foods. You need to have more potatoes, more rice, more quinoa when it comes to fruit, when you're talking about bananas and dates and things like that, and less of eating, large volumes of berries or watermelon. So calorie density, we go into that in depth. So you can absolutely gain weight on this program, gain muscle. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of Cyrus with his shirt off or not, but the guy's ripped, and there's no issue gaining muscle, gaining weight on this program. So somebody asked about our retreats. Go ahead, Cyrus.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, this is our last retreat. We're going to do this our last retreat, July 13th to the 17th. If you want to learn about that, just go to masteringdiabetes.org, click on retreats in the top, and you can learn about that. So let's see.
Okay, I see a couple more questions rolling in here, so I want to address a couple of these. Somebody said, I don't have Facebook. Can I still participate? Absolutely. So the community is housed on Facebook. That means that we're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people who are all communicating on Facebook on a daily basis. And that's the location that it's going to be. So if you don't have access to Facebook, then either you can consider joining Facebook and only joining this group. You don't have to necessarily post things that are public to other places that are outside of this group. And if you're concerned about privacy issues, then just know that whatever happens in this group stays in this group. Okay, we have plenty of people who never join Facebook, and they're only in this group, and they get tremendous value out of it. So again, if you choose not to join Facebook, that's fine, but you'll still get the online course. You'll still get fresh new content delivered to your email inbox. You will still get monthly Q&A video calls. And as a result of that, you'll be able to participate in this program. You just won't necessarily be able to participate in the day-to-day conversation that's happening on Facebook. Okay, it looks like we got a lot of people signing up. This is awesome, actually. There's a lot of people.
So somebody said, I want to address this. I love addressing this one. Somebody says, I started low carb, high fat, and now I need to reduce the fats. Okay, listen, we know all the other teachers out there talking about the approach of eating a low carb diet, high in fat, and they all have testimonials. They all have New York Times best-selling books, peer-reviewed research saying that, people, real people, they lost weight. Some people, some type 2s, maybe they got off their medication or whatnot. And, we're going to do a whole nother webinar on this topic. This is stuff we'll talk about in our Q&A calls in our group. We'll address in comments. But in general, the short on this issue is that the people who have done that approach have gotten short-term results. And our concern is that they're going to have long-term issues, which many people have come to us, join our program after doing that for a long time, ran into some problems, other health issues. And the other thing is they have not actually improved their insulin sensitivity. They're actually making themselves more insulin resistant. And this is an objective fact because there's 3 ways to test the insulin sensitivity. You got a glycemic clamp test done in the lab, oral glucose tolerance test, which is easy to do, and you got this method called HOMA. And basically, if you're eating a diet where you're eating super small amount of carbs, less than 30 grams of carbs, then you will fail an oral glucose tolerance test, showing that you are insulin resistant. So that's a super short on that. We can talk about that more, again, in our group, and we have articles coming out about that. But the bottom line is, here's the bottom line. If you're ready to try and you want to you would just give it a shot, try it for a couple months, see what happens. We will show you, you'll prove to yourself that a low-fat, plant-based diet improves your insulin sensitivity, reduces your blood glucose, you need less medication, whether you're type 1 or type 2, and at that point, it doesn't matter what you read on the internet or what you see on YouTube, you have your own experience in your own body.
Hey, Robbie, can you go back about 10 slides or so? People are asking what's included in the program. I just want to put it on the screen so you guys can see it. There's also a lot of people asking, how does this differ from Dr. McDougall's program? There you go. So let's answer both of those. What you see on the screen right now is exactly what's included. The online course. We give you access to our online course that's got a ton of videos that's giving you step-by-step directions on exactly what you need to do in order to transform your diet. Number 2, we give you the private Facebook group. This private Facebook group is a different group than the public Mastering Diabetes support group. So if you're in the Mastering Diabetes support group, which has something like 4,000 members in it. This group that you're creating is different, okay? We have created a separate community, and this is only going to be for people that are part of this program. Every week you'll be given weekly members-only content, so only you guys will see that content. It will not go out to the general public. It will not go out to anybody who's not part of this membership program. And then every month you will get a Q&A phone call. So we'll give you some lead time on that. You'll be able to participate in a phone call like this. We'll be able to hear from you, listen to your questions, and help you personalize this approach so that it's very doable for you and you don't have all these questions that you don't get answers to. Okay, so to answer the question about how does this differ from McDougall's program, McDougall's program is called the Starch Solution. He focuses the majority of his nutritional recommendations on foods that contain starch. And he does that for a number of reasons. The main reason is because starch tends to, it's a lower glycemic collection of foods than are things like fruits. And as a result of that, it leads to less blood glucose variation in the long term. It also keeps you full for a long period of time. Okay? We are different in the sense that, number one, we are very fruit friendly. I eat a ton of fruit. Robbie eats a ton of fruit. Practically every single member of our coaching program eats a ton of fruit. So if you like eating fruit, we'll show you exactly how you can do it. And we're talking not just berries. We're talking foods that are high on the glycemic scale. And we'll actually teach you why the glycemic scale isn't actually that important. But you'll get to eat things like bananas and persimmons, and you even get to eat foods like dates. Who knew? Okay, so we'll teach you how to incorporate more fruits into your diet, more than 4 or 5 servings that McDougall recommends on a daily basis. And then we'll also teach you how to eat starch-based foods like potatoes, like squash, corn, quinoa, brown rice, turnips, parsnips, rutabaga, carrots. We'll teach you how to eat these foods and keep your blood glucose super controllable. And that way you can integrate fruits if you want. You can integrate starches if you want. You can integrate beans if you want. You can integrate lentils if you want. All of these foods are open because the common thread that they all have is that they're low fat, that they're plant-based, and that they are whole foods. Now, another question I see is people saying, well, do I have to be fully plant-based? Do I have to turn into a vegan? Right? If you want to turn into a vegan, we highly encourage you. When we'll show you all of the research that actually that shows you that people who are eliminate animal products from their diet get the best results, period, end of story. But if you don't want to be a vegan, or if it's socially challenging for you to be a vegan, or maybe it's difficult in your family and you don't necessarily want to be a vegan for that reason, that's okay. You don't have to commit to a fully vegan way of life. You don't have to commit to a fully vegetarian way of life. What we're going to show you is how to integrate as many plants as possible. Like Robbie said, we're not the food police. We're not going to be sitting here yelling at you, telling you that you got to change this, you got to change that. We're here to support and guide and lead. And if you want to have a little bit of animal products in your diet, as long as you understand the consequences, the negative diabetes consequences of that, then it's your decision. So if you want to have a couple servings of cheese, or you want to have a couple servings of meat a week, again, that's your decision. It's not our decision. And we just want you to understand that the less of that you eat, the better you're going to feel. The better your blood glucose will be, and the more controllable your glucose is going to be. And if you're really looking to get off of medication altogether, if you're living with type 2, or you're hoping to reduce your insulin use living with type 1, then transitioning to a fully plant-based diet is really the most effective approach.
Okay, somebody's asking if you can buy this as a gift. Yes, so you buy it as a gift, and then get the purchase, and then just email us, team@masteringdiabetes.org. That's how you contact us, and then we can make sure that whoever the recipient is, that they get access and they're all set up. And somebody asked if you had to cancel. How do you cancel? You just email us and we cancel. That's easy. Let's see. So how long can you get the deal for $29 a month? So right now, you get the summit with it if you buy it today, and the price for $29 is we don't know. I can't tell you exactly how long it's going to remain at that price, but it's not going to change immediately.
The price is going to go up over time. When is the price going to go up from 29 to something higher? We don't know the answer to that question, but it's going to be within the next month for sure. So that's number one. And like Robbie said, if you purchase within the next 48 hours, okay, you don't have to make a decision right here and right now. If you want some time, it's totally fine. If you purchase within the next 48 hours, we will throw in the All Access Pass for free. And again, the All Access Pass is more than 32 hours of expert interviews with the best of the best. John McDougall, Joel Furman, Anthony William, Brenda Davis, Dr. Neil Barnard, Dr. Garth Davis, Dr. Michelle McMacken. I mean, these are the leaders in the industry. And we interviewed all of them. You can listen to those interviews. Those guys are truly transformational. So if you want that, you've been considering purchasing that summit, it's yours for free. But you got to make up your mind in the next 48 hours. And if you do, then we'll give you that all access pass, and it'll be no problem.
So if somebody emailed, they had like a problem getting in or something, if you have any technical issues or whatever getting in, it shouldn't happen. But if it does, just email team@masteringdiabetes.org and we will take care of you. Let's see here. Let's see. If somebody wants to change their plan from something to another plan, Krishna, yep, that's no problem. Just email us. Let's see.
Nina said, I already paid for the All Access Pass. Can I use the $97 as a credit for this program? Unfortunately, Nina, we're not going to give you a credit. If you already have that, then congratulations. It's just going to be $29 from here on out.
So Elaine is asking about plant fats. So people really want to know, are plant fats, do they cause problems too? So, I mean, the answer is, here's the thing about diabetes, and type 1 diabetes in particular. We're just data machines. Me, Cyrus, the people, our clients that we worked with, especially the type 1s in particular, we know what our blood glucose is, we know how much insulin we're injecting, and we know how many carbs we're eating. You take those three numbers, and it's very easy to figure out, but not those three numbers, the three pieces of information, it's very easy to figure out what is impacting insulin sensitivity. And the answer is yes, too much plant fat, whether it's avocado, whether it's nuts and seeds, whether it's coconut meat, whether it's olives, that stuff will impact one's insulin sensitivity. And how much somebody can get away with, I mean, that's a personal choice. You can play around with that. And we do that through the coaching process of working with people. So somebody says...
So Jason asks...
Somebody asked if the monthly program is for, I think they're trying to ask, is it for diabetes only? I mean, technically, no. If you wanted to come in the group and you wanted to learn how to eat this way and you wanted to lose weight or whatever your goal is, we can do that. Certainly, it's a focus. The new recipes, the new videos, the new information that we're going to be coming out with on a regular basis is going to be focused on diabetes. So that's that. Does this way of eating impact fatty liver? Cyrus, you want to answer Karen's question about fatty liver?
Absolutely. Okay. So before we get to the fatty liver question, there's one more question. Jason has asked in the chat box, and I've actually communicated with Jason via Facebook Messenger as well. He wants to know how he already has an A1C. I believe it's like 5.8 or just under 6.0. 5.6, he says, and his fasting glucose is 118 to 131. So effectively, what Jason's saying is, look, my A1C is low. Congratulations, that's fantastic work. He's lost a lot of weight. That's great, Jason. I want you to keep, you're going to continue to lose weight over time. He wants to know, well, what's my fasting glucose going to do? Is my fasting glucose going to come down? Jason, I cannot give you a 100% guarantee that your fasting glucose will come down. I will tell you this. People have come into our program with fasting blood glucoses of like 112 or like 116, right? Slightly elevated. And they've said, all right, I guess I'm going to make these changes that you guys recommend. And in a short period of time, by following our methodology, which is truly a low-fat approach, and by eating, again, fruits, starches, beans, lentils, as a result of doing this, their fasting glucose went from 112, 108, 116, and it dropped to below 90, and then it dropped to below 100, and then it dropped to below 90. So we're talking about a change of 20 to 30 points. And that change, even though it's just like a small change, which is sort of like at the end of this whole process, absolutely can happen. At the same time, people like Homero, people, in our type 2 diabetes coaching program, they have fasting blood glucoses of 180, 200, 220, 240, 300. And they will also notice a very sharp reduction in their fasting glucose as well. So if you're concerned about your fasting glucose, if you truly do follow the recommendations that we put out there about really quantifying your fat intake and really being diligent about how much is going into your mouth, we give you a very, very high degree of confidence that your fasting glucose will come down. And if it doesn't come down, we're willing to work with you to make sure that it does. We want you to show up to those weekly Q&A video conferences, and we can give you these pro tips that are truly going to transform your overall approach. When it comes to fatty liver, okay, think about fatty liver as being this. Whoever asked this question, I think it's a phenomenal question, okay? Fatty liver is insulin resistance of the liver. I will repeat that. Fatty liver is insulin resistance of your liver. Now, I said earlier, insulin resistance affects two primary tissues, your liver and your muscle. Insulin resistance also affects your brain and your thyroid gland and your gallbladder and your pancreas and your kidney and your liver. It affects everything. But the two most insulted tissues repeatedly are your muscle and your liver. When you accumulate fat inside of your liver, you block your liver's ability to use glucose. The two of them are mutually exclusive fuels. So think about it this way. You put fat into your liver, you put fat into your muscle, and as a result of that, the cells, they respond to how much energy is stored inside. So they're accumulating fat, they're accumulating fat, they're accumulating fat. And after a certain period of time, they're like, whoa, like I got too much inside of me. So then when you go eat a banana or when you go eat a potato and it has a small amount of carbohydrate in there, the carbohydrate gets broken down to glucose. The glucose comes and knocks on the door with insulin. And insulin goes, knock, knock. You want this glucose? Because if you do, take it up now. And cells in your muscle and cells in your liver, they basically say, whoa, hold on, stop. Listen, I need you to understand where I'm coming from. Look inside. Do you see how much fat I have inside of me? Do you see all of that? Because I'm not going to take up any glucose until that stuff is gone. There's literally no space. I have too much energy inside of me. And so as a result of that, insulin then goes, well, I can't do anything for you. And insulin leaves and it doesn't do anything. And then glucose says, well, all right, I guess I can't get inside. Where am I going to hang out? Hang out in the blood. Then when you go check your blood glucose, you look at your blood glucose meter and it has a high number. It says 244. It says 193. And you say, that's weird. All I ate was one banana, right? Does this sound familiar to you guys? Okay. Small amount of carbohydrate leads to high blood glucose, right? Not the carbohydrate's fault. It's the fat and the protein that are causing the problem. We have to address the root cause of the problem. So long-winded way of saying, if you have fatty liver and you're trying to get a less fatty liver and you're trying to prevent against the complications of a fatty liver, which include liver cirrhosis, okay, hepatic steatosis and liver cirrhosis, if you really want to minimize your risk for a further liver dysfunction, then eating a low-fat diet is essential. It's not suggested. It is essential. The more fat you eat, the more protein you eat, the more fat you put into your liver, the less likely you are to truly recover from fatty liver.
Cyrus, why don't you address does this work for hypoglycemia?
Does this work for hypoglycemia? Okay, so if you are living with hypoglycemia, I think I might need some more information because hypoglycemia is a complicated condition. But top level strategy, if you are hypoglycemic, okay, what I need to know is what are you eating? Because what you're currently eating is affecting your blood glucose values. It can raise your blood glucose like we've been talking about, or it can drop your blood glucose. And if your diet is actually suppressing your blood glucose and you're going hypoglycemic often, there's some simple strategies that we can employ that'll actually bring your blood glucose up to a normal level and get you more stable. Okay. Sometimes hypoglycemia happens frequently because of a condition called rebound hypoglycemia. And rebound hypoglycemia is when you have a high-fat diet and then you eat carbohydrate on top of that, and then you get this giant surge of insulin from your pancreas. So your pancreas throws out a bunch of insulin to get your blood glucose to come down, and then as a result of that, it throws out too much, and then boom, you crash to the floor. So that's a complicated way of saying hypoglycemia can be caused frequently by a high glucose followed by a low glucose. And if you're on this roller coaster, that's the same roller coaster that I was on. It's the same roller coaster Rob is on. It's the same roller coaster that practically everybody who joins our coaching program is on. The roller coaster sucks. It's a terrible place to be. And so as a result of going high and going low and going high and going low, or just going low, 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 it can really dominate your life, right? So following this approach, we can teach you ways where you can actually eliminate that high. And by eliminating that high, you then eliminate the subsequent low. And if you eliminate the subsequent low, then you're less hypoglycemic. Your glucose is in the normal range most of the time. And as a result of doing that, you can regain your normal life and start to participate in the activities that you want to participate in and not be totally sidetracked by the fact that your glucose is so low you can't do anything. Make sense?
Okay, good stuff. All right, guys, I'm gonna stay here all night. I'm gonna answer these questions. So we're gonna answer these questions. Somebody says, can it also help someone who wants to eat low-fat, all-raw, or high-raw diet? Okay, so the answer is yes. You just kind of try and do what I do and communicate with me a lot, because that's what I do. I prefer the all-raw, fruit-based approach, and you'll see me posting pictures and sharing how I make that work, how we do that. There's plenty of information in the online course showing how to make that path work. Like I said earlier, we are here to help people reach their goals. What is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And we're gonna go there with you. Like, it's just, we love it. We're passionate about it. So the answer to that question is yes. People who are signing up and wondering when they're gonna get the all access pass, that's gonna happen in the next 24 hours. You get an email saying that you are now enrolled, and then you'll log into the Teachable platform where all our courses are hosted, and then you'll have access to both. So that is what is gonna happen there. Somebody goes, what is the difference of $97 and $29 in your website? So the summit, if somebody wanted to just buy the summit on their own after this offer, the summit will cost $97. If you want to get that plus the subscription, you can get it both going today. So that's the difference. So the program is $29 a month. Do you believe in paleo diet is the only way to address Hashimoto's? Cyrus, you want to talk about that? Maybe we lost Cyrus. I hope not. You still with us, Cyrus? Can people still hear me? Gene, I also have adrenal issues and hypothyroid. Yes, you can absolutely do the program. So I think we might have lost Cyrus. Hopefully he can come back. So I will continue going through these questions. Let's see, what do we got here? Type 2, husband's doctor only recommend testing once a day, which did not make sense to me. How often should he test? Okay, so that's a personal thing. We got to find out where that person is at, what's going on, what type of medications are you taking, and what are you eating. The goal is for a type 2 to not need to test at all and get things so under control that, yes, truly, they actually only do need to test about once a day. You monitor that fasting number, and then you're good to go. But if some type 2s are taking insulin, and there's a lot more to monitor there. So yeah, that's the way that works. So it's totally personalized. There's no cookie cutter answers. Do I take B12? Yes, we recommend B12. I personally take it. Cyrus takes B12. If you are following a vegan diet and not eating very many processed foods, so people get some added supplemental B12 by eating packaged food products and stuff like that. So if you're not doing that, then you should take a B12 supplement. It's the benefit to risk ratio on B12 is just ridiculous. There's no risk in taking it, and the benefit of making sure you don't have problems with B12 is very, very high. So it's very important. Do you think shots or pump? I'm on pump and have lows. Thank you. Okay, so again, this is another personalized thing. Everybody has a different preference. Both Cyrus and I do multiple daily injections to manage type 1 diabetes, and we both really like that. We go into depth with talking with people, what's going on, what they're struggling with. There's advantages and disadvantages both ways. So we can go either way on that. As a type 1, where should you keep your blood sugar range? We're shooting somewhere between 80 and 130 is where you should be as often as possible. Something Cyrus and I talk about a lot is if you want to improve your A1C, controlling your blood glucose overnight, controlling your blood glucose while you're sleeping is huge. So if we can get that, so A1C, Cyrus has a whole lecture about this, but it's really about your blood glucose over that 24-hour period, or actually measured in 3 months. But anyways, the point is, you're sleeping for 8 hours a day. If you can get your blood glucose in range just while you're sleeping in that, 6 to 8 hours, however many hours you're sleeping, that's going to have a big impact on your A1C. Okay, so people are asking if somebody wants to learn about private coaching. So that's where we do like group video calls on a weekly basis. So we have a texting support going on with that. If you're really interested in that level of coaching, then what you do is go to our website, masteringdiabetes.org, click on coaching in the navigation bar, and you set up an appointment with us, and we'll talk to you about that. Do you help us personalize the program according to our personal issues? I mean, yes, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the program. That's why we have a program, is to sort it out for you. Like, it's figure it out, make it work in your life. That's the key. The foods that you like, the foods that you have access to. Some people travel a lot more than others. Some people, they have a family. Some people, they cook for their spouse. There's so many nuances. And at the end of the day, this is like the easiest thing in the world, but it's also the hardest thing in the world all at the same time. Like, the whole thing is really simple. It's like, we're just talking about eating plant foods here. Just eat plants, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's it. But then like the actual practice of that, we understand. We totally get the challenges. And that's why we have a program, and that's why we coach people through them. Okay. I have not heard anything for prediabetes. The program pretty much the same. I'm not on any meds. Great question, Carolyn. So yes, it's the exact same approach, whether it's prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 1, type 1.5. It's following the healthiest diet on the planet, a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet. So it's absolutely the same thing. We have several people who've joined our program as a pre-diabetic and completely just mastered it, you're just a non-diabetic anymore. Just nothing to worry about. So if you're a pre and you're catching it early, I mean, kudos to you for making lifestyle changes right away. You can really nix this situation. So somebody asked, can you access this program on your cell phone? Yes, this program, the course, everything is mobile responsive, so you can get it on your phone, your iPad, your desktop, all that stuff, any type of tablet, whether it's PC or Mac. And same thing with the summit, basically. So when you get into the all access pass of the summit, you can download all the files and put them on your computer. So you can have all the MP3s, all the MP4 video files on your computer, and listen to them offline when you're on an airplane. When you're somewhere where you don't have internet access and you want to listen to the MP3s, you can totally do that. So that's awesome. Let's see. How much fat do you eat per day? Protein. So again, so that's going to change per person. That's going to be different per person based on their goals. Some people are trying to put on muscle. Some people, based on their activity, their total fat intake is going to be different. But the general guideline for fat is not exceeding 15% of calories from protein. And same thing with not exceeding 15% of calories from fat, and also not exceeding 15% of calories from protein. So again, that's going to adjust total fat, total protein. It's going to adjust based on your age, weight, and stuff like that, activity. Okay, somebody said, I'm signed up excited about getting started and getting my blood sugar under control. I have a pump and sensor and will still struggle up and down. It's great. Can't wait. When you get in the program, so you're using insulin, you'll see in the program we have everything distinguished for lessons to go through if you're insulin dependent, and things you can skip if you're not insulin dependent. So you're using insulin, make sure to pay very close attention to the decision tree lesson. It's going to be super important for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing your activity on Facebook. We have workout advice. I haven't worked out officially in a long time. Absolutely. So Cyrus is our fitness guru. He's been personal training people for many, many years now. If you want to see how popular he is, you can look at his Yelp page or his Google reviews page. And so he has a lot of experience helping people with fitness. So absolutely, it's part of our program. Let's see. Oh boy, there's so many questions, guys. How do you share recipes? The recipes are built into the online course, and we're going to keep on adding more. We're going to add recipe videos, so tutorial videos, meal prep videos. We know the things that people struggle with, and we are going to provide the resources that people need, and it's just going to continue to build and build over time. Type 2 diabetic, follow a vegan diet, B12, and a vegan diet for nearly 1.5 years, and I've improved a lot. But my diet, I feel a bit stuck, small bits. If you're stuck, join the program. We'll help you get unstuck. How about cleansing and fasting, like fasting 1 day a week? Okay, so Cyrus has a lot of experience doing research and working with people with intermittent fasting. So that is something that is addressed in the course, and we can go into conversation about it in the Facebook group and see what applies for you, what you need to do, what your goals are. Maybe do more, maybe do less. I don't know, but fasting is definitely a tool we have in our toolbox. So let's see. Somebody's asking about the difference between this program and our other programs. Basically, the difference between the levels of programs we have is just basically how much phone support, video support, and text support, like direct text message support. So some of those things are not included in this very low price $29 a month program. But if you feel like you start this and you go through the course, you work with us on Facebook, and you're like, you know what, I need a little bit more hand holding. I really I want to have some more individual private attention with you guys, then we can talk about that. So you go to our coaching page, you fill out that form, and we can talk about what it takes to go to the next level there. How quickly do people typically come off meds following the program? So that totally depends. This person's on metformin, Trulicity, Invokana, and glipizide. Okay, you got a lot of motivation right there. You do not want to be on those meds. There's a lot of
Hey, Robbie, can you hear me by any chance?
I sure can. You're back.
Cool. Sorry about that dysfunction, guys. I'm back now. Keep going.
Terrific. So how quickly can you get off meds? I mean, this is all very individualized. We don't know. But there's only one way to find out, and the way to find out is to commit to the program and get to the place where you are really, really following a healthy, low-fat, plant-based diet as quickly as possible. And then let's see what happens. We walk people through the process of getting a C-peptide test. So those who've been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and they're taking insulin and maybe had it for a long time and really wondering, can I truly reverse this? We can find out. So there's some tests you can run, figure out what those numbers are, and figure out how well your pancreas is working or not working. And we can really gauge, what are good goals. So it's something we work with. Once we pay monthly, can we continue the same price or we see? No. So once you have paid monthly, you've subscribed, you've become a member today, you are locked in at that price. So, if you cancel and you want to rejoin, the price is higher, that's a different story. But if you sign today, you are locked in at that price. So let's see.
Hey, Robbie, can I chime in here for a second?
Please.
Okay, cool. So there's a couple of questions here about PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So if you are living with PCOS and are curious about whether or not eating a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet can benefit you, let me tell you this. PCOS is, you can think of PCOS as basically being the menstrual version of diabetes. That's effectively what it is. Okay, so individuals living with PCOS may or may not have elevated blood glucose. Some of them may or may not be taking insulin. So regardless of whether you're taking insulin, regardless of whether you're taking an insulin sensitizing medication like metformin or glipizide or Invokana, and regardless of whether you have been diagnosed with any form of diabetes, at its root cause, PCOS is a condition that is highly influenced by insulin resistance. And this is obviously a condition that only affects women, and it affects women who are a lot of women who are trying to give birth. And so what women with PCOS experience is a whole collection of symptoms, including number one, weight gain, unwanted weight gain. Number two, irregular menstruation or a complete loss of menstruation. Number three, a condition called hirsutism, hirsutism. And what that is facial hair growth. It's unwanted facial hair growth, okay? And then on top of that, a lot of women with PCOS also experience skin conditions. Sometimes they'll get blemishes on their face. Sometimes they'll get blemishes on other parts of their body. And so as a result of that, becoming pregnant can actually be a really challenging situation. Now, it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome because you can develop cysts on your ovaries. And when you develop cysts on your ovaries, then it impedes your ability to have a normal menstrual cycle and therefore give birth. So That's a long-winded way of saying, can PCOS can you improve it? The answer is yes. Why? Because PCOS is the menstrual version of diabetes. It is the menstrual version of insulin resistance. So we have worked with people with PCOS before, and we've worked with other women who are also trying to get pregnant who don't have PCOS. And what we found is that by integrating a low-fat, plant-based whole foods diet, the mother actually ends up losing a little bit of weight to begin with, becoming much more regular in their menstrual cycles, and then increasing their chances of actually becoming pregnant. The women who have PCOS who have gone through our program have told us that they feel better, they look better, they have more energy, they're able to exercise, and as a result of that, many of them have gone on to actually give birth or get pregnant. And it's a complete game changer, because if you've been living with PCOS for a long period of time, you'll know more than anyone else that it's a pain in the butt. And that with excess weight gain, with excess insulin requirements, and with a high need for medication, all of that is actually preventing you from making positive change and actually becoming pregnant in the first place. Okay,
so we got a lot of questions, guys, and we're going to try and fire through these. Somebody says, do you eat apples? Cyrus, everybody can hear me. Is that correct? I'm still with you?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. So do you eat apples? I've eaten some apples. Personally, apples aren't really my favorite fruit. Dried fruit. Dried fruit is not something that we encourage people to eat. It may mean small amounts as a condiment here or there, but it's not a basis of our diet. We are really, really focused on eating whole foods. It's a big deal. Somebody says Cyrus has the best Yelp reviews I have ever seen. Hey, guys, go and read them.
Someone's reading my Yelp. I love it. I love it.
Somebody says, can we eat wheat? So here's the deal, guys. Again, this is always every step of the way here throughout our coaching process. We are assessing where you're at, what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve, what symptoms are you experiencing. For some people, it might make sense to take out wheat, or maybe you're not eating wheat. It might just, maybe there's no reason to add it back. So it's a personal choice. Personally, I don't eat any wheat. And it's not necessary, but it's also not necessary. It's not bad. There's a lot of hype about wheat being the worst thing ever. It's really not. So, that's a personal choice.
Could I go into a little detail on that one too?
Yeah, throw in some details.
Okay, cool. So, when it comes to wheat, you guys may be referring to the books Grain Brain or Wheat Belly, right? Where they basically tell you that all wheat is bad, don't eat wheat, wheat's bad, wheat's bad. When it comes down to it, like Robbie said, wheat is people respond to wheat products on a very individual by individual basis. 2% of the population has a legitimate gluten intolerance, whether it's celiac disease, which is an autoimmune condition, or whether it's something called non-celiac gluten intolerance. So only 2% of the population has a legitimate diagnosable gluten intolerance. The other 98% of the population does not have a gluten intolerance. And as a result of that, the other 98% of the population has the opportunity to eat wheat-based products. Is wheat bad for you? No, wheat is not bad for you. If you have a gluten intolerance, wheat is definitely not something you should be eating. But wheat products, as long as they are whole wheat products, and as long as they are minimally processed, can actually be a very effective addition to your diet. And it's something that, as you will learn through Dr. Michael Greger on his website, nutritionfacts.org, adding wheat to your diet is actually really helpful at turning your microbiome over and making it incredibly healthy. It adds fiber to your diet. It actually helps decrease your blood glucose values, and it keeps you super regular. So if you're nervous about eating wheat, you can relax if you're part of that 98% of the population. But if there's a little bit of, like if you eat wheat and you gain weight, then we have to kind of address it on an individual by individual basis and see if we can test out whether or not eating wheat is actually causing you problems.
Okay, great. Okay, and somebody said they just joined and had access to the Facebook page and Summit. So once we wrap up this Q&A here, we will start approving people for the Facebook page and get that going there. And the Summit, if you purchase in the next 24 hours, you're going to get an email saying that you now have access to that. So you use the same login to get into the course, but also how to access the Facebook page. So to request access. So once you sign up, you're going to get an automatic email. You're going to get two emails. The first one you want to click is the one that says redeem your course or redeem your access. And then in that email, you confirm your email address. And then that's how you can then log into the Teachable platform and access the online course. And then in there, you go to the welcome lesson. The welcome lesson in there tells you how to use this course, and there's a link to click to request access to this new members-only Facebook group. So that's how you do that. And again, if you have issues, you can just email us, team@masteringdiabetes.org. How long can type 2 be reversed? So type 2 can be reversed for as long as somebody chooses to continue doing the things that didn't cause it. It's like you take your head and you're banging it against the wall, and you have like a red bump on your head. All right, then when you stop doing that, there's a healing process, and then pretty soon the bump is gone, and your head is healed. But if you go back and start banging your head against the wall again, then it comes back. So it's as much as you want to do it. But A1C is 9, no meds. How do I start eating more carbs? Okay.
Okay. Can I chime in on that last thing, Robbie?
Please.
Okay, cool. So Robbie's analogy here, banging your head against the wall and then saying, "How come my head hurts?" is actually true. Like I said earlier, type 2 diabetes is a reversible condition. In more than 80% of all cases of people living with type 2 diabetes, whether it's something you developed in the last 6 months or whether it's something you've been living with for 25 years. I kid you not. I am not just saying this. Type 2 diabetes is a highly reversible condition. And the way that you reverse it is by alleviating insulin resistance. You have to reduce the insults that are constantly being given to your liver and to your muscle. And by reducing the dietary insult, namely saturated fat that comes from animal products and from products like coconuts, when you reduce the amount of insult that's coming in on a meal by meal basis, then you can significantly improve your insulin sensitivity, which will then lead you to greener pastures, which then leads you to less medication, weight loss, and a completely transformed diabetes health. So if you're living with type 2 diabetes and you're saying, well, I guess I have to do this the rest of my life, I would say, listen, instead of saying, oh, I have to be a vegan or I have to follow a plant-based diet, I'd say, no, listen, I have the opportunity to reverse diabetes. I really do. And if you really take that to heart and you say, okay, if I follow a simple set of rules and I just become very diligent about doing it, then I can truly reverse type 2 diabetes. Imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have type 2 diabetes. You didn't have to check your blood glucose. You didn't have to worry about it. You don't have to search for information on YouTube. You don't have to search Google all the time for more information. How much more free time would you have to be able to play with your kids and go outside and go for a jog and enjoy your life, right? Think about the end goal. If that end goal is where you want to be, then adopting a simple set of rules is really a simple solution. It's a really logical decision, right? If you choose to continue to hit yourself on the head with more high-fat products and more high-protein products, and then say, well, look, my diabetes came back, I'll be the first one to tell you that that's absolutely going to happen, okay? So reframe the argument in your head, because otherwise you're going to say, what do I have to do? And then say, instead, I want you to think, what is my opportunity? If my opportunity truly is to get rid of diabetes, if I were in your position, I would do whatever I could to get rid of diabetes.
I love that. Good stuff. All right. So Jim says, my A1C is 9.0 with no meds. How do I start eating more carbs? So again, this is a specific situation where you gotta get in, you gotta communicate with us, follow the program, start telling us when you're testing the blood glucose, what readings are you seeing, what are you eating, and we coach you through the process of transitioning. So you got to start somewhere. Doing the same thing is not going to work. You got to do something different, that's for sure. I've been off meds since October 19th of this year, just watching what I ate and going low carb, high fat. Can expect my sugars to jump before they go back down. Just signed up and looking forward to getting started. Okay, so yeah, so if you're eating a ton of fat, you're coming into this eating a very low carb diet, then yeah, the transition phase is going to be different for everybody. But again, through the coaching process, we're going to have you focusing more on beans and adding lots of vegetables with all your meals. And when you eat your fruit, you're going to eat some greens with it, stuff like that. So yeah, we work through that process. Okay, let's see. Type 2 and doctor recommended insulin. Okay, well, you got to work with your doctor. We're not physicians here. We're not practicing medicine. If your doctor says you need insulin and they have a reason behind that, then you got to gather the information we have in our course about improving insulin sensitivity, communicate with your doctor, and figure out what's the right thing to do. I mean, if you're following you'd look at the decision tree lesson, you'd track what you're doing, and if you measure your blood glucose and you're finding your blood glucose is low and you don't need insulin, then you call your doctor and tell them, hey, this is what's happening. They're going to be like, they're going to advise you. You got to work with your doctor. So that's part of our course. We teach people how to communicate with your doctor. Look, we're trying to change the world here, guys. We're trying to change the narrative in the diabetes world. So when you guys succeed and you go back to your doctor, we want you to educate your doctor. We're going to teach you how to communicate with them, because if you can change your doctor, then how many people is that going to impact? So we got to think big here. So we teach you how to communicate with your doctor.
Can I hop in on that one real quick too? Okay. So when it comes to insulin, so if you're living with type 2 diabetes and your doctor says you have to take insulin, okay, in more than 80% of all situations, that is not the final solution. It is a bridge. It is a bridge to greener pastures. It is a bridge to improved blood glucose. Okay, so in your doctor's head, your doctor's thinking, person with type 2 diabetes comes into my office. I need to get their blood glucose down. Here's a prescription medication. Here's metformin, here's glipizide, here's Invokana, and then the last resort is here's insulin. That's their tool set. That's what they've been trained to do. Okay, what we're saying is, listen, if you want to reduce your need for all of those, your biological need for medication, because medication is not the long-term solution, there's a whole separate world of medication, and that medication is called food. And that medication is called low-fat, plant-based, whole foods. So if you switch over and start to adopt a truly low-fat diet that is plant-based and that has as many whole foods as you can possibly put in, then your biological need for insulin goes down and down and down to a point where you can completely get off of insulin in more than 80% of all cases. So just like Robbie said, I'm not a doctor. I have a PhD, and therefore I can call myself a doctor, like a doctor of philosophy. I'm not a doctor. Robbie is not a doctor. By law, we cannot tell you how to get off insulin or how to inject insulin. We cannot tell you when to get off your medications. We can tell you from our own personal experience, and other people in the group can share their experience about how they got off of their medications. And once you hear these stories over and over and over and over and over again, you start to realize, oh, wait a minute, the same thing's happening to me. Maybe it's smart if I back off on my insulin usage. And as a result of that, you will then be able to educate your doctor. Imagine that. You'll walk into a doctor's office and you'll say, hey, doctor, by the way, I'm not taking insulin anymore. Don't you want to know how I got to that point? And your doctor's going to look at you and be like, what? That's incredible. Tell me what happened, right? So you become your own doctor. And by adopting this process and by using food as your medicine, that is by far the most powerful technique for reducing your need for all diabetes and insulin sensitizing medication.
Good stuff. Okay, guys, so I'm just going through these questions in the order I'm seeing them. So I'm sure there's new ones at the top, but we're going to go through all these. So I'm going to answer one quick question, and then I'm going to let Cyrus talk about keto and paleo, because we want to just address people's concern there and share where we stand. So somebody's saying that they're new to the program and they want to get some baseline tests. That's a great question, and that will honestly be one of the new pieces of content that we will add to the course in the next couple months, probably less than a month or so. But we're going to add things like this, questions like that. That's a great question, and we will write it. We will tell you exactly what tests you should get and what to see, what we want to see, and that'll be something that the members only people can access. Maybe some of these things we write will be released, down the road or something as an article on our website. But initially, the stuff will be just for you guys. So Cyrus, don't talk too long on paleo and keto because we got a lot of questions, but let's address it.
Sure. Okay, so what's the actual question then?
So somebody goes, can Cyrus address the paleo and even keto?
Yeah, okay. Paleo keto. Paleo is version 4 of low carbohydrate diet. It started with Atkins, then it went to Zone, then it went to South Beach, then it went to paleo. All of these are different iterations of the low carbohydrate diet. Low carbohydrate diets have very weak research backgrounds. What that means is that there are very few studies that show in large numbers of people over long periods of time that they can truly get off of medication and sustain that into the future. Joel Fuhrman is one of my heroes in life. I was sitting at Joel Fuhrman's house with him. We were going over research together, and he says, quote, Cyrus, from here on out, whenever anybody asks you about low carbohydrate, I want you to say the following. I said, what? He said, show me studies that have taken place in large numbers of people over long periods of time. Show me the low carbohydrate studies that actually show that that's the most effective way, and then I will close my mouth. He says the reason you can say that is because they don't exist. If you want to see studies in large numbers of people over long periods of time that have truly reversed insulin resistance and lost weight and reduced their need for medication, plant-based nutrition is the way to get there. I'm not just saying this. This is actually what's true in the research. The ketogenic approach is another disaster waiting to happen because the whole point of a ketogenic approach is to effectively eliminate carbohydrates. They bring your carbohydrate intake down to 30 grams per day, and all they're doing is pulling out the thing that is going to cause their blood glucose to spike. So they're in a high-fat environment, and they're eating this much carbohydrate, and great, it works. Your blood glucose is super flat. But in the long term, people who adopt a ketogenic diet will actually end up with an increased risk for other conditions like heart disease and cancer. And so if you want to trade conditions and say, okay, I'll give away diabetes and I want cancer instead, or I'll give away diabetes and I get heart disease instead, then follow a ketogenic diet. But ketogenic diets are not shown to work in the long term, and they actually end up with way more risk associated with them. And plant-based diets are by far the most effective.
And I'll add to that they've actually never even traded away their diabetes. Yes, they got off medication. Yes, they lost weight, but they are still insulin resistant, which is the cause of diabetes. So that cannot be emphasized enough. Okay, so somebody says, I've been vegan for about 5 years, tried low fat, but gained weight and was constantly hungry. Eating more fat sometimes leaves me satisfied for over 6 hours. So honestly, when people are working as us, under our guidance, we're coaching them. I've never seen somebody not be able to lose weight under our guidance. I have not. When people are taking pictures of their meals, posting in the Facebook group, showing us exactly what they're doing, it works. As far as being satisfied, we have tricks for that as well, and everybody's a little different. Some people maybe sometimes add more heavier, denser meals, more caloric dense stuff. Some people maybe a little bit of hemp protein powder here or there, things like that. So we tweak that. We solved that problem. I haven't seen a drop in sugar levels yet on insulin. Again, I'm being 100% honest here. This is the truth. Somebody who's on insulin, whether it's a type 1, type 1.5, or type 2, coming in our program, I've never seen somebody not see those numbers go down. We've actually had some Bernstein people come in, like taking really, really small amounts of insulin on a very small amount of carbohydrate intake. And then they start slowly creeping up their carb intake. And while that was happening, their insulin was staying the same. And then eventually, as they improved their insulin sensitivity, carb intake got even higher, and they made a small reduction in total insulin. And it happens every time. And then you see on those people, that's a dramatic increase in insulin sensitivity because they came from the low carb level. So, all right, I'm new to the program. I would like to, let's see. Sorry, I just want to say
Let me tell you a real quick story. There's a woman named Beverly who's in our program. She was injecting 175 units of insulin per day. Beverly has type 2 diabetes. Her doctor said, you need insulin. So she was injecting insulin at mealtime, and then again, and then again, and then again, and then taking basal. 175 units per day. She adopts the low-fat, plant-based whole foods approach. Within 2 weeks, her need for insulin dropped from 175 to 35 units per day. 175 units per day down to 35 units per day. And on a week-by-week basis, she's going from 35 to 30 to 25 to 20. So the first major drop occurred, and now she's on a stepwise reduction to get her down to 0 units of insulin. So if you're injecting insulin and you're thinking to yourself, maybe it's working, maybe it's not working, you want to get off of it, I can honestly tell you, just like Robbie said, this approach works. It really does.
Okay, so have you seen people, and just for people who are joining, like just FYI, like Cyrus and I are going to be the people approving people into the Facebook group and getting all that started. So that's going to happen later tonight or tomorrow. So thank you for your patience, but get going in the online course if you've logged in there and start going through that material. Okay, so let's see. Have you seen people improve their conditions like arthritis? Absolutely. This person has osteoarthritis, chronic pain, and the answer is 100% yes. And again, it's not just like, have we seen these things? It's that the peer-reviewed research shows it. It's that all the colleagues that we've learned from. I mean, Dr. McDougall's been doing this for 50 years. If you go to his website, he's got like a whole list of diseases, and then he's got testimonials for each disease and why a plant-based diet is a solution for those. And arthritis is absolutely one of those. It's listed as a hot topic on his site. So, that's something that absolutely 100%. So there's no question there.
Yep.
Cyrus, can you speak to Hashimoto's and the vegan diet?
For sure. Okay. So again, in the world of paleo nutrition, what they're going to tell you is that the only way to, I don't even want to know what to call it. The only way to reverse hypothyroidism, or the only way to reduce your need for thyroid medication, is to adopt a paleo diet. Okay. Does adopting a paleo diet improve your thyroid health? Yes, in most cases. Here's why. The starting point for most people is to eat a diet that contains a lot of synthetic and refined and packaged products. So that includes things like alcohol. It includes, pizzas from the frozen section in your grocery store. It involves crackers and donuts and stuff like this. When you're eating those types of foods, every tissue in your body is just revolts. And it's like, are you kidding me? This is a joke. Like, I can't function in this environment. Your thyroid gland is one of those tissues that basically loses its ability to function over the course of time. So what ends up happening is that you switch from that diet onto a paleo regimen. And on a paleo regimen, you eat cleanly, for the first time in your life, potentially, right? They're, again, gravitating towards more meats and more fat and protein in the diet. But as a result of that, you're not eating packaged products. You're not drinking alcohol. You've completely cleaned up. You're not drinking any or eating or drinking any dairy. So your diet has become significantly cleaner. And as a result of that, a lot of people find that their thyroid gland starts to function much more naturally and their need for medication goes down. Okay. So is that the only way to do it? No, it's not the only way to do it. I personally have noticed that by switching to a low-fat, plant-based whole food diet, my need for thyroid medication was increasing over time. And then it plateaued, and then it started to go down. And I was thinking, going down, that's weird. I did not expect it to go down, but it has gone down, and it has plateaued once again. Okay? I'm not going to lie to you and say that I have led people towards reversing Hashimoto's. I cannot say that, and I will not say that because that is not the truth. But I can tell you from personal experience, and I can tell you from the experience of some of our members, their need for synthetic thyroid hormone has gone down. And on top of that, you may also know that if you're living with Hashimoto's or you're living with hypothyroidism, you feel sluggish, you feel low energy all the time, and you're just sort of like, oh my God, I got nothing in me. Eating this way improves your energy levels de facto right off the bat. So you start to improve your overall health, and then you start to clean up your diet, and as a result, your thyroid medication needs go down. Have I checked my antibodies, my antibody levels? Yes, I get them checked very frequently. And my TSH levels have gone down. My need for T4, thyroid hormone, has gone down. And the antibody level can be suppressed simply by the amount of thyroid hormone you're using. So point being, this approach absolutely works. Again, I can't tell you if it's going to reverse hypothyroidism because I do not know the answer to that, but it can definitely lead you in the right direction.
Okay. All right, so here's a question. I'm not on medicine, but my A1C is 6.2. I follow a plant-based diet and exercise daily. Any suggestions on how to lower my A1C? I'm taking prickly pear cactus and something else to help glucose. Okay, here's the deal. I mean, in this case, I don't know this person, not going to make assumptions, but I mean, maybe they have a little extra weight on them. Maybe there's other things. I don't know. But the bottom line is we'd have to see. Like, it's a personal thing. I can't imagine that we couldn't get a 6.2 A1C lower if you're already not on medications. That's a good sign. And the way it works is like, I'm pretty much guaranteeing somebody's success. Like if you're like, somebody says, I'm trying a plant-based diet, I'm not getting results, it's not working, I will challenge that person in every situation. If they joined our program and we're coaching them, I want to see everything you eat. You post me, you show every single thing you're eating in the Facebook group, and I see a picture of it. I am certain that we can get you to the results that you want. We can see where things have gone wrong. But if you're not posting me a picture every day and I can't see, then I question what's going on and why you're not getting the results. So we're there to help people every step of the way. You got to do the work as well and communicate with us and show us what's going on. So somebody says, I signed up but not get the email where I insert my email. So Pat, if there's an issue there, send us an email, team@masteringdiabetes.org. You should get 2 emails from us. One, it's confusing, I know, but one says you can access the course. Another one says redeem, your course. You got to look for the email that says redeem. You confirm your email. Then once you confirmed your email, on that page right there, you will see the course that you now have access to. So look for the email that has the word redeem in it. All right. So,
and another thing too is that please check your spam folders, because sometimes emails can end up in there unwantingly. So check your spam folders and check your promotions tab if you have Gmail, because sometimes those emails can be found if you visit those 2 spots.
All right. So Brian asked us a question about what's going on here with 300s, A1C, and all that. You joined the course. Great. Communicate with us on Facebook, and you got to work with your doctor. You got to make sure the right thing is happening there based on the medications you're on. So we'll work with you there. Thank you so much to you both. I have been following your way. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. I have digestion issues. Will I be able to eat this much vegetables and fruit? So again, this is a personalized thing. We got to figure out what's going on. This is where you would go through the course. You would learn what we're suggesting you eat. You start eating those things, you post pictures of it in the Facebook group, and then you say, hey, I felt good after this meal, or I felt bad after this meal. Yeah, we work with you on that, and we figure it out. I mean, honestly, Cyrus and I have a lot of experience with using fruit to heal digestive issues, and that's something that is just not talked about enough. People don't really know enough information about it. And it's something we really have a specialty in. So, there could be a lot of things involved with digestion issues, but the way we work at it is we just address the common things, the most basic things, and start knocking those out so we can figure out where the real problem is. So until we address the basics, we don't know whether or not to dig deeper or not. Okay, what about the Roundup in wheat? So that's probably concerning, try and get wheat that's not full of stuff like that. Again, that'd be a nuanced issue. It's a personal thing. We can address that individually, but it's not something we're going to lose sleep over.
Yeah, Roundup is a pesticide, very dangerous. The only way to eliminate that is to buy organic wheat, period. So you got to buy organic. Make sure that's non-GMO.
So somebody's asking us about access to a certain Facebook page. Look, here's the deal, guys. In the past, we would sell, we offered programs. Like you'd buy the whole program, you pay it off in monthly payments. And we offered those people lifetime access. And we are going to honor that. And those people will always have the lifetime access that we offer them. So the people that signed up and committed early and, got on some type of payment plan, when that's paid off in full, they get exactly what we promised them. So that's the answer to that. And that is honestly, that's a separate Facebook group. You guys will see this stuff when you search on Facebook because these things they're public, and we approve people based on the level of commitment they had. So there's a private group that's for those people who purchased lifetime access. That's for them. This is a brand new group for members only, and that's the only people who are going to be in this group. And we're really looking forward to supporting people and really, really having a big impact and making this as accessible as we possibly could. And really, our goal is to just give new information and resources and recipes and just inspiration on a regular basis that keeps people on this for the long term. I just can't emphasize enough the importance of community, and we're going to be with you every step of the way. Okay, somebody says coffee, yes or not? Cyrus, you want to address that one?
Okay, so coffee on the scale of 1 to 10 for like things to think about, I'm going to put it down as like a 1 or a 2. Coffee will elevate your blood glucose values. True story. There's a biological mechanism that describes that. If you're drinking coffee on a daily basis and your glucose is elevated, that's one of the causes. But it's a less potent cause than is eating a whole collection, than is saturated fat, than is excess unsaturated fat, then is trans fat, then is animal protein, then is excess overall protein. So we really need to get a handle on those variables first. Then we need to start getting you active. And then as a result of that and actually having energy, hopefully you will choose that you don't necessarily want to drink coffee as much. And you will see, again, another stepwise improvement in your blood glucose. So, think about it as a variable that we're going to manipulate down the road. right off the bat. It's about food, and then down the road, we're going to get rid of alcohol.
Awesome. Okay, somebody's asking, would your program be a tweak from Dr. McDougall's START program? So Cyrus addressed that a little bit. I'll add to it. I mean, Dr. McDougall is a legend. We have so much respect for him, his information. If people want to come in our program and they want to, they want the help and support and the community and meal planning tips and social situation tips, and they want to follow Dr. McDougall's START program, we'll teach you exactly how to do that. We have experience showing people how to do that, and we'll support you every step of the way there. Of course, yes, our program is a little bit, it's more fruit positive, and there's no, there's no hiding that Dr. McDougall is not such a fan of that, and that's okay. We work with people based on their goals, what's going on, what's working, what's not working, and we've seen, some tremendous success with people being able to eat large amounts of fruit. So that's that. But again, I can't emphasize enough how much we love Dr. McDougall. He gave a great presentation in our summit, and if you sign up in the next 48 hours, you'll get access to that. What does this mean for the complications of diabetes down the road in type 2? I mean, what does this mean? Basically, our whole goal is to prevent those complications. That's the whole goal here, trying to prevent complications of any form of diabetes. People living with type 1 diabetes don't die of high blood glucose readings. We die of complications from a terrible diet. Number one thing being heart disease. We die of heart attacks. So this is the type of stuff we're addressing in our program. That's why we're more than just blood sugar numbers and insulin levels. This is an overall health program. That's what we're teaching here. That's the information we're trying to spread far and wide in the diabetes community at large. If I join Facebook this week, can I still have the Facebook support? I have signed up already. I'm not sure I understand that, but go ahead and email us, team@masteringdiabetes.org. We'll help it. So is tofu bad? So tofu is something that, again, we're going to be adding a whole new lesson on this, and we'll address the stuff in Q&A calls. But tofu, it's a processed food. It's more processed. It'd be better to eat the more unrefined version of soy. And it's also higher in fat, so even the unrefined versions of soy are still something to be concerned about, or to be mindful of, not concerned, be mindful of. And again, it's based on your goals. If we are seeing that as a type 1, it's affecting your ability to manage your blood glucose, then of course, let's work together. Let's take it out. Let's see what happens, and then you decide: is it worth it to bring it back, or was life better without it? Same thing with a type 2. Like, you're trying to lose weight. You're trying, a goal is about 1 pound a week in a lot of situations. You start adding tofu and it's not happening. And then we say, hey, just try 7 days with no tofu. Let's see what happens. And you replace it with something else. And all of a sudden you lost 1 pound that week. You get to decide, It's all about personalization here. So do you sprout beans such legumes when eating a raw vegan diet? I personally don't. Cyrus, do you want to mention anything on that?
You can if you want. If you're eating a raw vegan diet and you choose to eat legumes, then you have to sprout them, because as far as I understand, you cannot consume beans and or lentils in their raw state, in their truly raw state. So yeah, if you want to sprout them, then that's a way to make them edible, and you're welcome to eat them that way. If you choose to eat cooked foods, again, a vegan diet or a plant-based diet, and have cooked foods in there, then you can either sprout them or you can cook them. Either way will work, because the nutritional content of them is similar in the sprouted state as it is in the cooked state.
Awesome. Okay, so we addressed the Hashimoto's question. Have to get blood work this week. Which test should I get? I think we already answered that one about blood tests. The doctor said just stop taking all pill form medication because they aren't working now. I mean, that's interesting advice. You got to work with your doctor. Sometimes maybe consider a new doctor. But the bottom line is, unless you're a type 1 or type 1.5, that's a different story. But if you get a C-peptide test and shows that your own body is producing plenty of insulin and you're needing to inject more on top of that, then that's just an objective, clear sign that you're living with insulin resistance. And I couldn't recommend highly enough doing the things necessary to reverse insulin resistance. And that's what our program is all about. So we would work through that and figure out what's going on. Will you have oil-free recipes? Oh, great question. Everything is oil-free.
Good question.
100% in the oil-free camp. So the answer is yes. As far as salt and sugar, Yeah, as far as like processed sugar, yeah, we're not, I mean, look, there's a lot of forks over knives recipes that we recommend, and in some of those there is some processed, refined sugar. It's not the end of the world. It's a small amount. It's a condiment. Salt, yeah, salt is something that would be in the diets that we're recommending and the recipes we're recommending. That's optional. You can do as much or as little as you want as far as putting it on top of your meal. So we do address sodium. There's a whole lesson about sodium in the course. You want to talk about that, Cyrus?
Yeah, sure. So sodium is let's talk about salt. Okay. Salt is it can be a problem for a lot of people who are trying to clean up their diet because salt's tasty. Let's be honest. Everybody enjoys eating. It's not everybody. Lots of people enjoy putting salt on their food because it makes your food flavorful. The problem with salt, there's multiple problems. Number one, salt will increase your risk for hypertension, which is high blood pressure. Okay. If you don't have hypertension right now, but you can continue to eat salt, you add salt to your food, you can increase your risk for high blood pressure, and that can put you down the road to atherosclerosis and heart disease or cardiovascular disease. Okay. So you got to ask yourself a question. Is that something you care about? Because if it is something you care about, then simply eliminating salt or minimizing it can lead you to the right direction. Number two, when you consume salt in your diet, it doesn't necessarily make you drink more water and make you thirstier, which is kind of a myth that is circulated around. For some people it does, most people it doesn't. What it does do is it increases your appetite. So you'll eat a little bit of salt right now, and then 3 hours later, 6 hours later, 24 hours later, you're actually hungrier. And as a result of that, you end up taking on more calories over the course of time. And it's such a small difference, you can't really feel it. You just think you're eating the normal amount of food, but in reality, your desire for food has actually gone up because the salt has actually interacted with your pituitary gland in your head, and it's increasing your appetite. You aren't aware of it. So when you eliminate your salt or when you really minimize it, then your appetite goes down, your body weight goes down, your fluid retention goes down, and your blood pressure goes down. All of those are positive benefits.
Okay, awesome. So somebody goes, what is the macronutrient breakdown for the fat? So we're talking about a maximum of 15%, maximum 50% of calories coming from fat. So what does that turn out to be in regards to total grams? That's going to vary based on how much food you're eating and your activity level. So in most cases, it's no more than 30 grams. And some people who are, less active, don't eat as much, aren't as tall, it could be more around 20 total grams. So somebody goes, can I continue to do Dr. McDougall's starch solution, but with the tweaks from you guys? Yes, I totally answered that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%, guys. The endocrinologist tells me I have to count carbs in order to determine how much insulin to give. So Stephanie, I don't know if you're living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, but yes, counting is a whole lesson in our course. That's in the decision tree lesson. Figuring out your carb insulin ratio is very important, and that's if you need insulin, even during the process of reversing, for type 2, getting off insulin, you still need to be cognizant and mindful of how much insulin you need for the carbs you're eating. That's 100%. That's insulin's function. Insulin's function, the reason it exists, it's a necessary hormone. Cyrus talked about this. It's a required necessary hormone that takes glucose out of the bloodstream into the cells. So we got to calculate how many carbs we're eating. Okay, have you guys worked with people who eat emotionally? Grace, fantastic question. So yes, of course, Cyrus and I personally, going through this lifestyle change ourselves, have experience with emotional eating and food attachments and stuff like that. We sort of go through those stories quite frequently when talking to people on our group coaching video calls that we do. And so we have some experience personally, and we can share some tools and some resources. We have some people on our team, Kylie and Tara, people who have also a lot of passion around this topic and providing strategies and things to help. Just having a community like we have, and being able to express and be like, we have a very safe, honest, vulnerable community. It's a place we're not just looking. It's not like your typical social media. Everybody only shares, the pretty pictures and what's going on. Like, we encourage people to share as much as they can, because sharing the struggles is what's going to help you overcome them. And, being quiet and not shameful or scared to share what's going on and say, oh, I had an emotional eating day or whatever. That's not gonna lead to success and help you. So the answer is yes, we address it, and that's what our community's for, and we have tools and resources. And another thing is, part of this membership program will include guest speakers. That's something we didn't really talk that much about, but we'll have some guest speakers maybe, and that will be a topic we will definitely bring people in to talk about, and say, hey, look, this is how I dealt with that problem. So you're getting more than just what me and Cyrus are sharing. Get some other perspective as well. How do you figure out your perfect meal plan? So we figure that out. I mean, Cyrus, how about you address how we figure that out?
Yeah, how do we figure that out? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you a number of different options here for how to construct your perfect breakfast, how to construct your perfect lunch, how to construct your perfect dinner. Now, we give you the general strategy, and we say, okay, rather than focusing on like eat this, eat this, eat this, eat this, we're going to basically give you a top level strategy. What foods do you want to try and include at breakfast? What foods do you want to try and include at lunch? What foods do you want to try and include at dinner? Once you understand that top level strategy, then we say, okay, here's the approximate proportions for each one of these meals. Then we say, okay, here's a bunch of recipes. Now go ahead and make these recipes. You have the opportunity to tweak that, right? You might look at the breakfast formula and say, okay, cool, like I could do that, but I don't really want to eat those foods. And then we'd say, okay, fine, that's great. Here's another option. Take a look at, these types of foods instead, right? So there's a certain amount of personalization which you can absolutely implement in this program, and we actually suggest it for sure. But if you just sort of pay attention to the general guidelines that we give and then pay attention to the recipes, I think what you will find, which is what most people have found, is that they're making their own versions of these plant-based recipes, and they're finding things that they enjoy eating, finding things that keep them full, finding things that keep their digestive status very solid, and finding things that keep their blood glucose rock solid. So if you go through this process, we will work with you as much as possible to make sure that you can personalize this approach so that every single meal you're satiated and you're happy.
Absolutely. And I know some of these questions, either Heather or Kylie wrote back to you guys, and but we're addressing them anyways and elaborating a little bit. We're going to keep going here until I get through all these questions I have looking right in front of me. So somebody says they signed up and they work 15-hour days and want to work about meal prep. Absolutely. That's a key thing. Today we literally just added 10 10-minute meals and also 10 salad dressing. So we're going to teach you all about convenience and how to deal with a very busy schedule. So that's a huge portion of our teachings here and helping people succeed. All right. So somebody said thank you. So somebody says, what do your antibody levels do? So I think that might be a question in reference to type 1 diabetes. So one of the tests done to see is somebody a type 1 diabetic or a type 2 is a antibody test. So a GAD antibody test, IA2 antibody test are the two most common ones. I can't say that we have enough data to say, hey, here's what happens to those values on type 1s who follow our program. So don't really have an answer there. Let's see. Will this also help with those suffering from endometriosis? Cyrus?
Yes. I'm trying to. So let's put it this way. So endometriosis is an inflammatory condition of your endometrium. And all inflammatory conditions, whether we're talking about any version of cancer, whether we're talking about insulin resistance, which is an inflammatory condition, or whether we're talking about autoimmune conditions, which are all inflammation-based. Any inflammation-based chronic disease can be treated with a diet that is extremely high in antioxidants. Food-based antioxidants, not from pills, not from vitamins and minerals. The antioxidant content of your diet when you follow our approach is so high that, to my knowledge, there is no other approach for increasing your antioxidant content, period. So antioxidants are just one component that can significantly reduce your global inflammation as measured by your C-reactive protein, and it can measure your tissue by tissue inflammation as measured by the function of that tissue. So endometriosis is likely to improve. Fatty liver is likely to improve. Insulin resistance is likely to improve. Oxidized cholesterol inside of your blood vessels likely to improve. All of these conditions get better over time. There's no question about it.
Okay, so Grace asked a good question. She's saying, I don't want to miss this information right now, so she's staying with us here on the webinar. You could still click the link and make the purchase and secure this price and still be listening to the webinar. So go ahead and just take care of that right now. And that's how you do that. So somebody, Reba, says that she purchased it and did not get the redeem email. Okay, I'm very sorry about that. Send an email to team@masteringdiabetes.org and I will look into it. I'm guessing right now that you might already have a Teachable account. You might have a My Teachable account. And if you log in with that, I think you should be able to access the course. But we will.
Yeah, it can get a little confusing.
We'll figure that out.
We'll help you figure that out for sure.
Sure. Okay, so will this help to lower anxiety? So I'll say a few words. I'll let Cyrus say a few words. There's a lot of things that lead to anxiety. And the one thing I will say here is that this approach cannot hurt. It cannot hurt. Eating these colorful, beautiful plant-based foods and being part of a supportive community, it can't make the situation worse. And I just want one of the things, a lot of our clients have been through our program before. They always say is how they really appreciate our flexible approach, and they really feel safe and comfortable in what they're doing, and no judgments, no stress about maybe having a challenge here or there. So I'm pretty confident in saying that our program can do certainly can't hurt, but could only help. Cyrus, why don't you talk about fermented foods?
Okay. Fermented foods are, think of them as prebiotics. So what that means is that they're food for your microbiome. We highly recommend fermented foods. We'll show you exactly which ones to get. And as a result of that, you will find that your microbiome starts to
Okay. I just lost Cyrus. Did you guys lose Cyrus as well? Okay, so now write in the box if you can still hear me. Can you guys still hear me? Are we still live and having this webinar? Let me know if in the chat box if you're still with us. Yes, Susan says you can still hear me. Okay, so we lost Cyrus. That's okay. We're going to continue with the questions. Will you also post what you eat in a day from both of you? Okay, so I'm not going to say that we do like a full what we eat every day. I mean, will we do that every once in a while? Yes. Do I share a lot of posts for inspiration and to keep people going? Absolutely. So we share for sure. Let's see. They can hear. Okay, many people with diabetes increased risk of cancer on this program. Have you had some diabetics with cancer, and how is their outcome? I can't say that I personally, in this time, have not worked with people. Cyrus might have worked with people that had cancer before we joined forces, so don't have a strong answer on that one. Let's see here. But I mean, look, when it comes to cancer, we're going to point you towards other resources, other success stories, other doctors, and make sure that people feel comfortable in what they're doing. And one of the things when it comes to some of these more, nuanced things here and challenges, like cancer is a big one. That's not. There's not a lot of guarantees when it comes to cancer. But we're going to guide you in really exploring all your options, figuring out what is out there, what your options are, and you got to decide. Like, we can't make these decisions for you, but making sure that you know the facts and are aware of everything that's out there is important to us. So that's how we would handle a cancer situation. Let's see. If I want to buy 3. Okay, so if you wanted to buy, this Grace is asking about buying a gift for some other people. Send us an email and we will help you get that figured out. So team@masteringdiabetes.org, and we'll take care of that. So I've scrolled all the way to the top of these comments. I'm sure there's comments that are down at the bottom that maybe came in at the beginning that maybe didn't get addressed. Hopefully Heather and Kylie were able to get through most of them. But I tell you what, if you're still here and you have a question that you want answered, I would love for you to ask, and I'm happy to answer because I'm here and just want to help. So I'll let this go for a couple more minutes here and wait for people to ask questions. Have you had type 1 diabetes go through your program during pregnancy and postpartum, even raising? Yes, so we do. I think we've had 2 babies in our coaching program. So Rachel is one of them, and another woman, name is slipping my mind right now, but she had a baby as well. And and we actually have a couple people just joined our program who are trying to get pregnant. So we definitely have a couple people who have recently gotten pregnant. I think of 2 people. Cyrus deals with a lot of that stuff. Cyrus and Kylie have a lot more experience in that realm. And so it's something we address. I mean, while you're pregnant, it's obviously a exciting time, a nervous time, but you want to make sure that you're obviously having the best nutrition for the baby, of course. So the low-fat, plant-based approach is the way to go. There's no question about it. I worked at Forks Over Knives for 5.5 years, and while I was there, the team was working on the Forks Over Knives Family Book, which is a great resource, and it's been published now, so you can read that. And so the evidence about what plant-based nutrition for pregnancy and children is pretty strong and pretty clear. So check that out. Does this way of eating reverse the complications as far as you know? So it depends on what complications and how far along they are. Really anything is possible, but I think it's whatever's happening, whatever complications somebody has, obviously that's tough and that's sad, but all I can say is, as far as what's possible, there's only one way to find out, and that's to really give it a shot, clean up your diet as much as possible, and see what happens. Give your body the best chance to heal itself. I mean, that's what's happening here. Our bodies heal themselves. It's the infinite wisdom. We have trillions upon trillions of cells that literally do trillions of actions every single second. The wisdom of what's going on in our body is so far beyond, we will never understand it. It's absolutely insane. Literally, you put in food in your mouth. Like, do we think about putting, which cells get what? I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So that's that. I didn't hear the Hashimoto's answer. Does it go away? The short answer is no. We do not say that we can reverse Hashimoto's. Why is dried fruit not recommended? So the reason dried fruit's not recommended is it's not a whole food. Like, you've removed the water content. So water is an essential nutrient. Whenever you remove an essential nutrient, or limit the amount in it. I mean, dried fruit still has some water content, but a dramatically less amount. It's not good, and it's going to spike blood glucose for sure. And it's also calorie dense. It's very calorie dense. So most people trying to lose weight, eating dried fruit is going to have a negative impact on the weight loss game. So it's just something we use as a condiment. So we eat dates. Cyrus and I eat a fair amount of dates, but that's not really a dried fruit. It's drier fruit, but we eat whole dates in their natural form, and those are great for treating low blood glucoses. But in regards to other things like dried figs or mulberries, those are things that would be incorporated in a treat, like a pie or something, on a holiday. It's a treat. It's not everyday food. All right. So, there's more questions. Okay. And sounds like some plants are not good, like avocado. So again, we're not afraid of fat, or it's not like this is a no fat diet. This is just an appropriate amount of fat diet. So yeah, you can still have some avocado, you still have some nuts, you still have some whole olives, you still have some coconut meat here or there. just the appropriate amount. So that's that. Let's see. If you're eating lots of fruit and vegetables without eating beans and grains, can I get enough protein? Oh, great. We love the protein question. The answer is yes. As long as you're eating enough calories, you get enough protein. As we work with people through our coaching program, we address that concern on an individual basis. So we teach you how to use some nutrition software. You log your food in nutrition software. That can help you reconfirm and just reassure yourself that you're getting enough. We also, one thing is like people are like, oh, I'm going to lose strength or something. It's like, how about, you go to the gym, you figure out what you can bench press before you start the program. And let's see what you can bench press 4 weeks in, 6 weeks in, assuming that you're training, and watch how it's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. So there's a lot of ways to deal with the protein thing. We have articles on it. It's just no worries. No worries. Can you give an example of what a daily meal plan might include? A breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Yeah, I mean, a daily is for me personally, it's like it's fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and then a fruit before dinner, and then a big salad. For people who sort of like what we're describing more in like the perfect breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's like 4 of your favorite fruits for breakfast. Then lunch is going to be something like maybe a lentil stew or something, or bean burritos, or we have some pizza type dishes and stuff like that. Snack in the afternoon might be fruits, and a dinner would be another thing. I don't know, like bean enchiladas, or Rip Elston has a famous sweet potato lasagna recipe. All kinds of stuff like that. So really, Cyrus wrote a great article on this, something we talk about a lot. The number one reason people fail on this approach is because they do not eat enough calories. They go on this plant-based diet, they start eating a salad and some vegetables, and all of a sudden they're hungry. They go eat a cheeseburger and they feel better. And it's like, oh, they think the burger was good for them. It's like, no, you got some calories. So really emphasizing calorie density and making sure you're eating enough is a big thing in our program. So when you're posting pictures of what you're eating, we can see exactly what you're doing. And, if you're, and you say you're struggling, or you're hungry, you're starving, you're craving things, and I see a picture of your fruit, and it's got a couple berries and a banana or something, I see the problem. Or your plate has, one medium-sized potato and some vegetables, we see the problem here. So calorie density is super, super important. Let's see. Where are you guys going to say something else at the end, or just answering? Just Grace, that's it. All we're doing is just answering questions. I'm glad to have you here. Hope to be working with you soon. I need to take, somebody's got to go. So glad you enjoyed it. So have a great day. Do you have a recommendation for treating low blood sugars? I've been using orange juice. Yeah, orange juice is fine. We like to try and find solutions that don't have additives and add processed sugars and stuff. So fruit is usually one of the best ways. But juice definitely works. Let's see. I can log into Master too, but it comes up with the all access pass. I already purchased, but it doesn't seem. Okay, so Donna, again, I'm sorry it's not working for you. We certainly would hope that it was a very smooth experience. Sorry about that. Send us an email, and we'll take care of that tonight. We're going to be pulling an all-nighter tonight, I'm sure. Me and Cyrus and Tara, our team, we're going to meet with a researcher in South Dakota. So I'll be getting flight leaves at 6:15 a.m. But Donna, I will look for your email. Let's see here. Is it okay if one cannot eat nuts and seeds? Can we still get omega-3s, the essential fatty acid thing? Boy, do we love that one. We'll make sure to do a whole presentation on that. But the answer is yes. Yes. It's so blown out of proportion. You can get all the omega-3s. If you want an insurance policy, you can do just like 2 tablespoons of flax seeds ground up. It's no problem at all. We'll explain all the science behind that. A lot of confusion there. You cut out during the answer. Elaine, I'm sorry I was cutting out. I hope other people can hear me. Any limit on the amount of fruit I can eat in a meal? The answer to that question is in most cases, no. As long as you're eating whole fruit and you're combining them well, there is really no reason to limit whole fruit. Again, there could be some unique specific goals or something going on where that might need to change, but in general, enjoy the fruit. Enjoy the fruit. Let's see. The more fruit, the better. Heather answered that, or Kylie, one of the two. It's great. The more fruit, the better. That's right. Let's see. I made a smoothie with like 10 different fruits and it spiked my blood glucose. I'm assuming I just need to detox and get all the bad food out. Okay. So, Michael, I don't know if you're type 1 or type 2 and all that, but another lesson that's very important, which actually we're going to be adding to the online course shortly, is insulin timing. If you're a type 1 diabetic, first off, eating a smoothie is not going to help your cause. So if we would work this out in the beginning and really get you eating some whole fruit, chewing it, enjoying it, and then seeing what happens. If you're taking insulin timing is a huge thing. You got to make sure when you're on a low-fat diet and you're eating these high-carbohydrate meals, the sugars in the food, the carbohydrates is going to get into your bloodstream quicker. So than what this old diet. There are people on, I know type 1s who sometimes will eat a meal and inject insulin afterwards. You absolutely cannot do this on our program. When you're eating a lot of fat and stuff like that, then, there's it's a different story in regards to how insulin timing works and blood glucose management. But on our program, insulin timing is key. But in general, so Michael says he's not on insulin. So I don't know what the spike is. I don't know how high you're talking about. We'd have to figure that out. But again, part number 1 would be to eat the whole fruit. Start there. We have simple, quick, easy recipes. Absolutely, we're going to be adding more and more of those simple, easy, quick recipes. Like I said, we just added some 10-minute meals you can literally get done in 10 minutes from beginning to end. We show people how to do batch cooking, so you can just reheat things. And we show people how to do convenient fruit meals. So simple, easy, quick. We get it. We know that's important. And we're going to provide the tools and resources for you to make it work. What would an excellent HbA1c be for a pre-diabetic? We want to get you below 5.7. Get you completely out of the diabetes range. I sent a request on the private site. I guess, Jason, we'll figure that out, right? I mean, again, I know, guys, it might be a little confusing. We do have several Facebook groups, but we'll get you in the right one where you're at. So we'll take care of that. Be patient with us. What about bloating? So again, that's a very specific issue. Again, we got to see what's going on. We got to see what you're eating. Post us pictures of everything you're eating, and let's see: is the fruit unripe? Is it bad food combining? Is there something else going on? We take care of the basics first, and then we see if it's a more in-depth problem. Can you share one more time all you'll be receiving by signing up? Yeah, you sign up, you get access to our online course. The online course has tons of information right now, everything you need to know, and it's going to have more information. It's going to continually be updated. You get access to a private Facebook group where you can communicate with me and Cyrus, where we're going to be coaching you, and where you get to have a community of other people who are doing this too and support each other, learn from each other, see pictures of what you guys are eating, and really get inspired. So that's the community aspect. And then we're going to do a monthly Q&A call. So people submit questions beforehand, and we're going to answer questions similar to this format. And we're going to have special guests and recipe videos, meal planning videos, stuff that people request. Somebody requested here about, what blood test should I get done? We'll build a lesson on that. Exactly when you're getting your blood work, as a person trying to reverse diabetes or living with diabetes, what's good? What are specific tests you should ask for? We'll cover that. So stuff like that. And that's it. $29 a month. You can cancel anytime. I hope you don't want to cancel. That's our, we want to really have a vibrant community here. So let's make it so you don't want that. And let's see here. Maybe one-on-one coaching on Facebook. I mean, not necessarily. It's like it's a group environment. So you're posting in a group, and Cyrus and I will answer questions in the group. Absolutely. But for those who want more like the one-on-one, the text support, the group video calls that Cyrus and I do, that's a different program. So if you feel like you need that extra level of support, then you can fill out our form online on our coaching page, and we can talk to you about that. So let's see here. Would flax seeds be okay? Yes, a small amount of ground flaxseed can be an insurance policy for omega-3. So we're not talking about large amounts. We're not talking about flaxseed oil, a very small amount. So I'm pretty sure I've gotten through all the questions here. I don't see any new ones coming in. So I really want to thank all of you guys for coming here and joining us. If you know anybody who wants to participate in this, tell them about it. You can send them the link that you have here that you can click in the offers thing. So you share that with people. We really want to build a really rich community here of people supporting each other and really mastering diabetes. That's what we're trying to do here. And that's it. So I'm gonna hang up now, guys, and I hope to see you guys all in the Facebook group. So, and yeah, thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. We will be traveling the next day here, but we are going to make sure to get everything set up as efficiently and quickly as possible for you guys, and looking forward to working with you. Somebody said, "Why is this last retreat?" Because we're gonna focus on the online education right now, and that's what we're gonna really focus. So the retreats are super fun. We love them. We absolutely love them, and we're really gonna go out with a bang with this last one. So if you want to join us, we still have, I think we have 4 spots left. I think so. Check that out. Would love to have you at the retreat. And that's it, guys. Have a great night. I'll see you online.